welcome back to day number 4 of trying to record the episode 7 of the Door to Door Gaming Podcast. My name is John. I am your gracious and lovely host this episode because Daulton gave me the win for the last episode. Joining me are, of course, Cameron and Daulton, as always. Hello, guys.
Hello.
How have things been the past fucking 4 days? Apparently, because
No.
listeners, viewers, it's been a thing. We've had hiccup after hiccup after hiccup trying to record this episode. So
Correct.
But we're
It
here.
It has been a
So-
time.
yeah. So we don't have any emails. I'm just gonna start. We have a lot to get through this episode. This is gonna be one of the longer episodes. You probably already saw that because you saw the timestamp and went, holy shit. But so I just want to jump straight into it. We don't have any emails. Please send us emails, doortodoorgaming.com. Go there, check out the website. There's an email button at the bottom. Send us some emails directly at door2doorcast. I'm also working on a new thing that I'm not going to give out the number right now because I'm still working on it and trying to get it set up. But if it works, it'll be in the show notes for this episode, as well as we will announce it going forward. But I'm looking at getting us a Google Voice number. And essentially what that is it is our own dedicated phone number for the podcast. You can call it and leave a voicemail it says up to 3 minutes long. I don't trust that. If we get it set up, I would keep it at like 60 seconds or so. But you'll also be able to send text to that phone number, and all of it will end up in our email inbox. So that'll be awesome. And if you send us a voicemail, if I get it working, of course, if you send us a voicemail, we can play it on the podcast. So maybe a little bit extra incentive to get somebody to please communicate with us.
We are desperate.
Yeah. That being said, the opening topic for this episode, as with every other episode, we roll a dice from the previous episode and determine a small talk segment at the beginning of every episode. And this one is hard games and the difference between art and blunt force. So on the surface, you would think something between Flappy Bird versus a dance like Dark Souls. But I want to see how deep we can take this talk, because I went through my play history on the Xbox and on Steam a little bit and picked out some more unique titles that you wouldn't typically think of when you're thinking of difficulty. So the one that I wanted to start off with, that'll probably get the least amount of talk, but it will definitely get the ball rolling on the conversation, is Forza and racing games in general. So right, Daulton kind of made a face there. It's like normally when we think of difficulty, we think of how many more fucking times we have to hit the baddie to kill him before he can kill us, compared to easy or normal. Whereas with something like a racing game, Forza in particular, Turn 10 Studios in the later in the Xbox 360 era started using what they call drivatars, which they use their algorithm and they take your driving style and they give you like a score, right? They give you a score on a scale, and that determines like overall how good of a racer you are. And then they would take other drivers and other players data from those same tracks and put them into your game. So instead of just make the cars go faster, they're using actual. It's kind of like a pseudo multiplayer without being multiplayer. But you have to actually be good at getting the car around the turns and tuning the car right in order to win a lot of those races.
So you're like racing data ghosts of other players, basically.
Yeah. Have you seen the? I think we've all seen the story of the kid who booted up X game. The game always seems to change, but X game from when he was younger and he found his deceased dad's ghost. Right?
Yeah.
And he races it constantly. And he eventually got better than his dad, but he refuses to finish the race because then it would erase the ghost. Right. It's essentially that on a massive scale. But it's not easy to win a lot of those races. It's difficult in an artful way. You have to improve your skills and make the right decisions with your car and your tuning in order to get there, as opposed to just blunt force. So that's one of the ones. This is one of the ones I brought to the table that I saw. So obviously Dark Souls is the one that everybody's going to go to, and I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's completely understandable. Dark Souls is a dance. You know, it's not just whack, 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 dodge. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. What do you
Without
guys
going
think?
into too much detail about Dark Souls, not that the games aren't difficult, mind you, but as the games have progressed from like Demon Souls to Dark Souls 1, 2, and so
Mhm.
on, the games have gotten easier. Not so much like combat wise or like weapon scaling or anything like that, but I was talking to one of my buddies about Demon Souls.
Mhm.
And if you wanted to co-op play with someone in that game, you have to be like hollow or dead or whatever it's called in Demon Souls,
Mhm.
which halves your health. So you have to be at half health to summon someone to help you.
Mhm. Okay. Huh.
So
So
they
they kind of did that with wasn't that a prerequisite for summoning some of the regular NPCs that came to help you in the older Dark Souls games as well? Is you couldn't do it unless you were almost dead or something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
I'm not the expert on the
Okay.
older Dark
All right.
Souls games.
I gotcha.
But, um,
Some of the other ones that I was thinking about as I was looking through was like, I don't know, you guys may never heard of it, but Neon Abyss. It's essentially a bullet hell. So bullet hells in general, like Cuphead. Cuphead is a real good one. I've never been able to. I think Cameron has an interest in Cuphead, if I remember correctly. Things like what is it? You were talking about it not too long ago. It has the Lamb, Cult of the Lamb. Is that a bullet
yeah,
hell? Is it bullet hell
uh,
ish?
it can be. There are some enemies that I would consider to be bullet hell,
Right.
but more or less
So
it's just throwing yourself at enemies.
right, and a lot of these I think are like they're case by case basis because everybody's perspective of them and thoughts on them are going to change because everybody has different experiences, right? So I hate bullet hells. I can't stand bullet hells. I love the aesthetics of Cuphead. I love the soundtrack of Cuphead. Is all everything about Cuphead is awesome. But if I play, I have to play on the easiest. I can't do bullet hells. To me, it's just a blunt force, hard for the sake of being hard. And if you get past it, good for you. I can't find the skill in bullet hells. I'm sure it exists, but it's just not for me.
On that same kind of idea, at least for me, rhythm games where like there's any sort of rhythm,
Okay, yeah.
DDR,
Guitar
any of
Hero,
those Guitar
all that
Hero,
fun stuff. Lights
that is hard
lightsaber.
for me. I I've I did marching band in high school. Before that, I played the cello in middle school for like a year,
Okay.
and it's hard for me to keep rhythm. I have whatever issue in my brain; it does not connect very well. So any game like that where there's rhythm based, I cannot play. If I do, it has to be on easy because I can't do more
Right.
than 3 buttons.
Right. So similar concept to me with bullet hells. You just yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Oh,
Bye. Um, have you played? It's on that note. Have you played? I just called it lightsaber because I'm a fucking idiot, but it's not lightsaber. Have you played
Beat Saber.
Beat Saber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yo, Dalton is currently
where?
holding a. It looks like it is a PlayStation 2. It's got a USB adapter, but
it
a
is.
PlayStation
Yeah,
2 era Guitar Hero 1
I think it's Guitar Hero
guitar.
2. I think it's Guitar Hero 2.
It's got the whammy bar. I can't remember if Guitar Hero 1 had the whammy bar or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
all
think that
did.
was
Did they all do?
they
Okay.
all
Yeah.
did. Okay.
Yep.
Why do you have you been playing Guitar Hero lately? Or?
Well, I have Clone Hero on my
Okay.
computer, which
All
is
right.
just
I
an
got you.
open source like free version.
Yeah, it's very popular when it comes to that stuff too.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, odd side tangent. I know that the two of the most popular um rhythm-based guitar instrumental games at the moment are Clone Hero, and there is a I'm gonna get the game wrong, but if you're interested, you can research it and find it yourself. There is a Guitar Hero mini game in in an MMO. I think it's the Final Fantasy MMO.
Oh.
And it is wildly like if you want to I want to play Guitar Hero, that's what you go do. You either play Clone Hero or you go play the mini game in Final Fantasy.
I've been
Fortnite
playing
has one as well.
Fortnite, yep.
That might be
Yep.
what it is. Yeah, no, you're right. It is Fortnite. I knew it was some yeah, it's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
Yeah, because they bought the company that made the Rock Band instruments,
Yep,
and
that's
now
what it
they
was.
are like slowly releasing their own. I think they just started selling their own guitars, which I think is insane.
That's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, but it's awesome too.
So,
Uh,
what about the Dalton? Dalton will like this one. I wrote down WoW and Destiny, but I'm MMOs in general, like raiding stuff like that, has a difficulty spike, right, compared to just casual play. It's it's a difficulty spike because all of a sudden you're thrown into larger teams that you have to cooperate with. You have like just massive difficulty increases just based on bullet sponges and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Right. So
I mean, yeah, that's not a bad one. I think the difficulty there just comes from like the extreme curve, where it's just like, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, and then it's like you are going to sit for the next 5 hours to finish one mission. That's when it gets like painfully difficult.
right. And if you're talking World of Warcraft, at least when you go back, a lot of the older content, it gets you have to be it's almost more about this your skill level with cooperating with other people as opposed to like doing things the right way because there's certain segments in I have a lot of experience with raiding and WoW. Dalton has a lot of experience in stuff like Destiny, but in old school World of Warcraft, it's a lot of like your raid leader is telling you to stand in this exact spot and there's no markers to show. Like he's like, the 3 dots on the ground right below that hash mark with that second crack on the brick, that's where you need to be. That's where you fucking if you're not there, we wipe the whole fucking party. Sure enough, if you're not there at that right time, the whole party wipes and you got to start over because of stupid raid mechanics. I just got delivered coffee. Yay.
Oh,
Um I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
dude, fuck that game.
that game is it's difficult to the point where I don't understand why people play it. Because like people I know that game got popular because of YouTubers that streamed it, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks difficult. And then people started playing it and it was like rage inducing.
Dude,
Yeah.
that game, the only reason it's hard is because they intentionally designed the controls like fucking shit. It has nothing to do with the difficulty level of the game. It's how stupid they made the controls. It's like I Am Bread, but if it was 2D.
I Am Bread is a great game. Do you know what the world record speed run is for Getting Over It?
It is like less than 10 minutes, I know. I know it's very, very short.
The one that it's 59.885 seconds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Fucking minute long, dude.
You're just like fling yourself over the entirety
I
of the map.
literally see the gears turning in Cameron's head.
It's
You
like
should watch
I've
it
seen
sometime.
people
It's a wild run, dude.
like I've seen people like grab onto like a ledge and like pull themselves off of it, but like just launch yourself all the way over the entire obstacle of that map. That's crazy.
He beat
Yeah,
me to it. He beat me to it.
Yeah, Cameron, go into the
Yeah.
chat and just
That
watch
is
that quick
absolutely
as we
something you
keep
can
talking because it
watch
is.
on. Yeah. Listeners and viewers, I will, if I remember to, I will. Actually, I'll make a note right now. I will put that in the show notes because that's a wild
I
watch.
do that on my phone.
Yes, you can watch YouTube
Yeah,
videos on your
there
phone.
it is. There it is. No, sorry, I was trying to find it like on the I was trying to find the channel on my phone.
Yeah, no, I'm just fucking with you.
What about? Oh, speaking of like just hard games for the sake of being hard, right? What about Chained Together? That's a recent game. Has anybody
That
seen it?
game, I started playing it with a friend a week or so ago. I honestly don't find that game to be very hard as long as you are willing to be really, really patient. Also, they have checkpoint saving
I
too.
saw that.
So that does make it a lot more forgiving, where you can literally just click a button where it's like, take me to my best point reached. And
Right. Yeah.
you can either do that or they have like actual in-game checkpoints. Either way, you still get like all of your achievements. Like there's not a setting that's like, beat this game on the hardest difficulty while also never using any checkpoints. Like it's
Right.
a whole,
See,
it's a
my
whole
whole thing
different
with it
beast.
is you say the key to it is to be patient and work together. Yes. In my house, there are 2 adults, a 13-year-old and like an 11 or 12-year-old that play. There is no working together and being patient lasts for like it comes in like 15-second segments once every 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a fraction of the time spent.
Portal. I pulled Portal off of it uh out of my list because it's not if any 3 of us right now were to go play Portal, we'd probably just breeze through it, right? But have either of you played it?
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Portal
Okay.
1 and 2.
So right now you could probably go to it and be like, right? Think
Mhm.
back to your first time playing it though. It was a challenge. Like there
I
was
never
There
I
were
never beat it. I
oh
never
shit.
beat it because I
oh,
got stuck at a
All right, well
spot and
you're proving my point right there.
yeah, yeah.
Um
no, there were
critical
like 1
thinking
or
and
2.
problem solving is a skill. It's a difficulty. There's a difficulty ledge that you have to get over to, do that.
Yeah,
No
there
pun
were 1 or
intended
2
from what we were just talking about.
there were 1 or 2 like puzzle rooms in Portal 1 that took me not like super long to figure out, but I had to like literally stand in the middle of the room and like look around and like piece everything together in my head.
Yeah, I can picture the ones that I hate right now. And I've only played through Portal 1 like 3 times. And it's been a long time ago. And I can picture the 2 or 3 foot rooms that I fucking hate. I don't know what their numbers are, but I hate them. Have either of you played I know you've heard me talk about it. Project Zomboid?
I have not.
Okay, do
I
you know
also have not.
have you seen anything about it?
No, actually, I
Nope.
don't think so.
It
I don't think I have.
is the most realistic zombie survival simulator, period. It's isometric. It's top down, or it's isometric. It's top down. It's. I think I talked about specifically what I'm about to say in a previous episode. But for example, here's a way to die. You go up to a house and you look through the window and you're like, "Ooh, there's X on the table. I want that. I need to loot that." You try to lift the window, it's locked. You go to the door, it's locked. You go back to the window, you see the option to break it. You break it, and then you climb through. Well, now you bleed out and you die because
Oh, because you cut yourself on a piece of broken glass.
you didn't clear the glass from the window. Now let's back up a little
What?
bit. You clear the glass from the window. You're like, cool, all right. You load, fuck it, load the safe. You clear the glass from the window. You climb through, and now you're bleeding again. You're like, what the fuck? Well, you don't have shoes on, and when you broke the window glass falls inside, so you landed on the glass. So you put a bandage on your foot. You're not gonna bleed out from a cut on the bottom of your foot, so you put a bandage on your foot. And then you're playing and you're playing and you're playing, and then you die. You forgot to change the bandage. Now you're infected, a lethal infection. Now, that being said, that is one of thousands of ways to die in this game. When I say simulator, what I mean is like it's a spreadsheet with graphics is what this game is. But it is one of the most fun like survival games I've ever played in my life. And the difficulty, the art in this difficulty, it's not a blunt force difficulty type thing. The art in this difficulty, or in the difficulty for this game, is simply remembering to do the things that will keep you alive. If it's practical to do to stay alive in real life, there's a decent chance you should see if you can do it in the game.
That is an interesting
Yeah,
concept.
it's you should look into it. I don't know if either of you would be. Cameron would probably be more interested in it than you would, Dalton, but it's worth a look at a trailer or a let's play or something at the very least. What else did I bring that's interesting? Hollow Knight is, I mean, it's starting to become a classic at this point. The difficulty ramp can definitely be ramped up in platformers in general. I feel like they have a happy medium between just blunt force and an art form, and I say that because of things like Happy Tree Friends. Where the fuck did that come from? Because
You're
of
gonna say
things like
Happy Wheels.
yeah, because of things like Meat Boy or
Oh, yeah,
Celeste,
Super Meat
right?
Boy.
Super Meat Boy, Celeste, stuff like that. Carrion. Um, More recently, not Risk of Rain. I think it's just called Rain. I can't remember what it's called. You play as essentially a slug in it's a platform, and essentially what you do is you play as a slug that's trying to survive in this world, and the entire world is out to kill you. Like, it's not enemies in the map that are out to kill you. The map is out to kill you. Nature is out to kill you. If it rains, it'll flood, and the floodwaters will push you to a deeper part of the map, and then all of a sudden you're in a cave, and then the floodwaters flood the cave, and there's no escape, and you drown. Like, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Platformers have like this weird middle point between. Some of them are just fucking hard to be hard, and some of them, I think through thinking of all this, I've noticed that the art that we're talking about, the difference between art and blunt force, the art is building a skill set. You have to build that skill set to get over that difficulty curve. You know what I mean?
So you'd mentioned Portal and platformers and racing games. I'm gonna
Mhm.
tie all that together. Mirror's Edge.
Okay, all right. Never beat it.
It, it's not so much that it's difficult in the sense of like it's challenging. It's
Mhm.
especially when you're doing time trials, like you're racing against a stopwatch. Essentially, it
Mhm.
is finding the best possible route to move from point A to point B as quickly as possible.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Um, that reminds me of a franchise that I didn't put on the list that I'm now thinking of, which leads me into my next question. Um, in your everybody's opinion's different. We all have different journeys through life and shit like that. What is the hardest game you have ever played? You didn't have to beat it. As a matter of fact, the hardness could have led you to say fuck it. Was the hardest thing you've ever played?
This is a bit of a cop out, but Guitar Hero for sure.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
no, no,
I'm
that's
I'm really
fine.
good at it. I'm really good at it now, but the process of learning how to play it was a painful experience when my dad and my mom bought me Guitar Hero for the PS2 when I was like 6 years old. That was painful because my hands were so tiny and
Is
my
that your
brain was
original
so
guitar?
underdeveloped. Yes, it's
Is it?
actually it's from my grandmother's house. Yeah.
Shit.
So, if I had to pick a game from my childhood, it would be Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Not so much that the game was difficult, like combat wise, but there was a lot of puzzle mechanics that didn't really click in my brain at
The
such a
whole
younger
game
age.
the whole game is a puzzle mechanic. Just when you're 5 and you're trying to wrap your head around the fact that the day resets, but you didn't lose progress, but you did. Like the whole yeah, no, I completely understand.
I'm sure this will trigger some PTSD in people who have played the game, but the water temple in Ocarina of
Oh,
Time.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, that's difficult. I don't care who you are.
That
um,
was
but if I had to pick a game from like now, Dark Souls.
okay. All right.
I typically play with someone else because they're better at it than me, and they just kind of drag me through the game.
Fair. I respect that.
If I had to
So,
pick a game the more that I've played more recently, weirdly enough, like football sports games,
Like Football
just
Manager? Like you're talking soccer, right?
No.
Or
Like
American
American
football?
football,
Okay.
American football stuff like Madden or like that the new college football game.
Okay. All right.
I just like I don't understand the strategy of football, and so like I'm not very good at it.
When I when I was younger, when I was like 10, I had this short stint where I was obsessed with like Madden fucking 2K, or 2K is the NBA games. It was like Madden 2003 or something like that that I was addicted to for like 6 months. Never
Mhm.
really figured out how to play. Like you, never really cared to even learn like the actual strategy of football. My favorite
Mhm.
thing to do, I remember it. It was on the PlayStation 1. You open the play log and circle was Hail Mary, and that's what I fucking chose 90% of the time. It worked a lot. It didn't a lot, but weirdly enough, it worked more than it might have had something to do with the difficulty that I had chosen in the game, but whatever. Have either of you heard of Trials?
Is it a newer game?
There's
It sounds
Trials,
familiar.
Trials 2, Trials HD, Trials Fusion, and
The
Trials
motocross game,
Rising.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
One of my favorite game
You just said
franchises.
motocross.
One of my favorite game franchises ever when it comes to like just sit down and dick around with it for a little bit type of games. Also, the most infuriating franchise of games I've ever played. I'll sit down and play Dark Souls and I'll get mad and I'll binge. Trials will make me fucking verbally yell across the house and throw things. Um, like the harder difficulties on those games are asinine. It's stupid.
Yeah,
I don't.
I can agree with that.
I
I've played my fair share.
yeah,
Played it a
and
lot, like in high school. That was
okay,
like the main time that
trials,
we played it.
trials, and trials too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to make it worse, they always add the death counter up in the top corner. How many times you've restarted that checkpoint or the map or something like that? Yeah. Yeah. Trials is a whole thing. Um, what about
What was
go for it? Do it. Say it.
there? I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'm trying to look it up real quick. It was back on the 360, and I downloaded it. And there's like another version of the game, which I believe was called like Geometry Dash or something like that.
Oh God, we have a
Um,
13-year-old. We have a
Oh,
12-year-old that is addicted to Geometry Dash in the
the
house. He has
original
for
one was just
years.
called the Impossible Game.
Yeah. Yep.
yes, yeah. So obviously, two reasons why that game was difficult, at least for me. Uh, Rhythm, like I said, I don't have
Right.
rhythm at all, and just the obscene amount of obstacles that they throw at you. Because
Yeah.
like at one point it like branches off and it's like, okay, this is kind of an easier path until it's not, and then the other one is like it's hard, but it'll get you over a majority of the stuff below
Right.
you.
Right. And we're getting into like Flappy Bird territory now with a lot of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Has
yeah.
either of you ever heard of either of you ever heard of VVVVVVVVVVVV? V?
Oh
And
no.
just Google it. Just Google image it. You know, it is a platformer, very much in the vein of Geometry Dash or the Impossible game, but everything is spikes, which are the V's. It's a oh god, what I can't remember what the games are called where the graphics are essentially made out of letters, but everything is spikes, V's, and yeah, it's difficult. It's a very difficult game
Oh,
to say. Oh my god, I've got
they
food now. Hello, I got
they
some
like
food.
reverse the polarity of gravity. Like you're like on
Yeah.
the ceiling jumping and then like jumping down to the
hmm
ground. Oh, no, thank
Um,
you.
I just got brought food. Somebody else wants to talk about hard games. I can.
Um, I wanted to talk about Punch Out because Punch Out is a game that I played as a child for the NES,
Wait, you were
and
you were playing that in Cameron's basement not too long ago too, right?
yeah, still haven't beaten it. To this day, Soda Poppin' Joe really just fucks me up, man.
I was about to
He is
ask how
a
far you'd
force to be
gotten with
matched.
it. There is a
Or
glitch.
Soda Poppin' Joe. I probably just sounded like such a fucking noob to anybody
It's
that plays
okay.
that game.
Nobody's played Punch Out that isn't like you're the oddity. People that play
It's
Punch Out are over 40.
Yeah, it's Soda Popinski. That's his name.
Okay, yeah.
I
There
fucked
is
up his
a.
name.
That's another one. There is a glitch, and I can't remember. I can visualize it, but I can't explain it. But there's a glitch to essentially one hit everybody in Punch Out, and just make your way. You can make your way to Tyson in like 2 minutes.
Damn.
I had another
Well,
Crab's Treasure on here, but mostly because it's a Souls-like, and we were on a streak of bringing up another Crab's Treasure every episode for like 5 episodes now, so why not? We
that's
just
a
gotta
fair.
name drop it once every episode.
Yeah, that one's fair.
uh,
Uh, you'd mentioned like racing games, and I know we had talked about this off camera. But like the older games, like Mario Kart on the NES,
mhm.
um, those games were like as soon as you up the difficulty of like the bots that you race against,
Oh
they
god,
I don't want
yeah.
to say I don't want to say they cheat, but they will like literally teleport closer to you. Like
Mhm.
if they are losing, they will teleport to you,
Right.
which can be make it difficult.
It's the polar opposite of Turn 10's Drivatar technology.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I wanna. We've gone through quite. Does anybody have any other games that they want to like throw out?
I think I pretty much talked about all mine that I was wanting to.
My once you guys started talking about Guitar Hero, that immediately popped into my brain, and then
Right.
Punch Out was the big one that I was like, that game's really hard because I'm a full grown adult and still can't fucking beat it.
So my ultimate question for this segment to you guys is like, what do you guys view as what do both of you view as blunt force difficulty? Like in my mind, it's like Flappy Bird, right? Flappy Bird is there just to piss you off and be hard in the simplest way. There's no skill set, right? The only way you're gonna get good at Flappy Bird is by timing it right. And you ever seen the meme of the guy sitting at the fucking table? He has a name. I know his name, but I can't think of it right now. He's the political guy, but he's got the fucking sign. He's sitting there with his coffee, and he's got the sign,
Oh,
and he's
change
like, "Change
mine.
my mind." Yeah. Flappy Bird. There's no skill set that you can like. You cannot develop a skill with Flappy Bird. You cannot change my mind. That is a blunt
Yeah,
force thing.
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
you
that's
just
one of
have
the
to
games
play it a
where
lot.
Hmm.
yeah, you're only gonna basically the only way to get good at that game is by memorizing the patterns of pipes and playing it so much that you can judge the jump distance of
Hmm.
the bird when you tap on the screen. Um,
So,
that being said, I did play a clone of that in Goat Simulator, which made it worse, and there was an achievement attached to it, which made it worse because I wanted to get that achievement, and I did. Um, after bashing my head against a brick wall numerous times.
As you tend to do with achievements.
Yeah,
Dalton,
but
What? What?
I'm eating. Hold on. The game that you think is the most hard, just to be hard.
Most hard just to be hard.
Like how people view Bennett Foddy. Or getting over it, rather.
Yeah, I mean, mm, I don't know if I have a good answer for that because I intentionally avoid like overtly difficult games. Like I just don't generally see the value in
Okay.
playing them for me because I just get really mad.
Okay. All right.
so
Like the
I,
getting over it game and like the impossible game, like those types of things, those I would say are definitely designed just to be hard. I think games that have like deceptively stupid uh mechanic like or like controls.
Mm-hmm.
What is Isn't there a game called Octodad?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna
yeah,
go with that one because I had a friend that played it a bunch, and he said that it was one of the worst games he had ever played solely because it was impossible to move.
that's kind of like going down the what was that game? It was popular for a minute. QWOP. where you were like playing as like a Olympic athlete in like a sprint, and like you had like 4 keys that controlled like the knee and like the tendons, and you had to like press them in order to make his legs work properly.
Yeah. A lot of those games are being categorized as party games.
I would call them
It's really
rage games, but that's just me.
Hand
when I think of
simulator?
party,
Hand
hand
simulator?
simulator. Yeah.
The fuck is
When I think
hand
of party,
simulator?
Oh my god, don't, dude, don't. So I'm just gonna
Heard of like
direct you.
surgeon simulator. That one's
It's
pretty
it's
frustrating.
like that, but more in depth. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
that
go ahead and
sounds
direct
awful.
you to Markiplier's page because it's just watch.
Okay.
Anything and just literally the amount of times. So there is a mini game in hand simulator where they have to open up a box, pull a grenade out, pull a pin, and throw it at one of the other competitors. The amount of times I've seen them pull the pin and drop the grenade in front of them and just fucking die is great. Just look up hand simulator. I'll almost guaranteed Markiplier will be the first one that pops up anyway.
Yeah, he also would
um,
probably be the first one of like recommended channels, so they would probably refer me to him anyways.
Right.
yeah. I will say the hand simulator game plays a lot like QWOP, but like instead of legs, your buttons move different parts of your fingers, and you have different tasks. Like I know one of them was like you're having like a duel on like a round table, like a with a revolver, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
pick the gun up, flip the chamber out, put a bullet in, close it, and then try to shoot your other teammates.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen those.
oh,
Yeah,
oh. Okay, I've seen specifically that because it's so funny watching 2 people mess it up at the same time so bad, and then they both start panicking and they're just like, I don't know what to do. I can't get we can put the bullet. And then they both end up like dying at some point.
the amount of times I've seen people try to like grab the gun and they push it out of the range of the arm, and they're just like frantically slapping around the table trying to get the gun. um,
That is hard just to be hard. Like you
I
can
now
get good at it, just like you can. Man, we can type sentences on a fucking keyboard and look at it. When you were 5, that looked fucking impossible. All it is the right key presses at the right time. But there's a dance
now
there. There really is.
if
I
you
I've
if you
always viewed hand simulator as like if I was in a horrible car wreck, this is what I imagine physical therapy would be.
oh no so and because I've done it, well, I've done it once. I need to do it again for an achievement, of course. Halo 2 Legendary, all skulls active. That is, and that's not even like it's not even the game being hard. It's all of the skulls that you can collect have different multipliers that make the game difficult by themselves. But then when you stack all of them on top of one another,
Right.
yeah, that's difficult.
I
Did you?
actually had Halo Lasso on this list. I just glossed over it
Hey,
for some reason.
Halo
Yeah.
2 Lasso is the hardest one.
Mhm.
Like there is
So
no
so
debating
you
that.
guys have seen the Halo 2 Lasso run then that Moist Critical hosted an event for, right? And there was a guy that did it deathless.
No, he
Oh my
didn't. There's no
god.
The
way.
There's no
the
way.
entire game. There's a full live stream of him doing it. He did it for I think like $15,000. Because Critical was like first person that can beat this gets like 10 grand, or
I
I don't remember
I I
what the number was.
I hope that money was worth it because you would have my
Holy
sanity would have broke.
shit.
Yeah,
The,
I
I
think I
the
he ran it
$15,000 would have
forever.
went straight to therapy.
You're like, yeah, I won. Now I need to go to therapy because my sanity is crushed.
Um,
Um,
the last big one that I wanted to bring up that I think I actually broke one. I know I broke one. It may have been more than one controller for this, and that is the Mile High Club achievement on the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah, that one sucks. I did it when the remaster came out, and I swear to God, it felt like it was even harder.
I'm really happy that I didn't try that. I didn't even know that that was in the remaster in the. I might have to look at that.
Yeah, yeah. That's how you got the.
We got
That's how
enough.
you. That's
We
what you
got.
had to do the platinum to get the platinum trophy on PlayStation.
We have like 11 Xbox controllers just floating around this house. I could stand to lose a couple of them. But yeah, that's Anybody else got anything for hard fucking games?
I
That are
think
No?
that's
unhard?
everything from me.
Yeah, no, we've kind of covered all the bases. We
Yeah.
talked about all the big heavy hitters too.
If anything, what I've learned is, um, from pondering this whole thing for the past couple weeks has been that like there's a lot less games out there that are just hard to be hard than I thought. Like so often so much of us get into we'll play a game that is hard or we will choose a harder difficulty on a game and then we'll get pissed at it because oh that's unfair. Oh it's this, oh that. And we start blame. There's a skill set in almost all of these games that you have to like learn and improve and stuff like that. Whether you realize you're doing it or not, the vast majority of games that are hard aren't hard just to be hard. They're there so you can get benefit out of beating them by improving your own skill set and shit like that. I used to, I mean, I still do, but I used to like, I was fucking when we were playing another Crab's Treasure when we were talking about that incessantly. I was cussing up a fucking storm at that game and blaming all sorts of shit in it. But it's not the game's fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. We all suck.
Yeah, it's
Get
the
good.
classic
Get
get good.
Get good. Insert get good on the screen here. So yeah, hard games. Hard games are fun, guys. Even if I 90% of the time go in and choose easy or story difficulty on whatever the fuck I play.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. That's your
Yeah.
skill set. If that's what you're comfortable with, roll with it.
That's largely what we're doing in the game that I'm going to talk about for this episode. So
Yeah, it's not your fault. You're just bad at video games.
I don't know if you guys can tell that I wear a hat at work, but my red mark hasn't gone away from my hat today yet. I don't like it.
You
You
might
probably
got a
got
little
sunburnt. Yeah, you probably got sunburnt. Dude,
Under
it
my
was-
hat?
No, like on you. It's not like open. Oh wait, no, I see what you're. What the fuck,
Because my hat's tight. I wear my hat tight.
Well,
bro?
don't
You
wear it
look
so
like
tight.
you got let fuck tight. You look like you suffocated your scalp, dude. You look like you lost part of your fucking forehead to your hat.
Yeah, you might want to like loosen it up just a hair, maybe.
Can't see it, so it doesn't exist. Anyway.
There we go.
So
Oh, my
all right.
glaucoma's kicking in.
Daulton, you just got your eyes fit, your eyes adjusted. You just got your new prescriptions, right? How are they?
Yeah.
How are they working out for you? Are those working out all right for you?
I don't know. You're looking pretty blurry.
Oh god, I just zoomed out. I think. All right. Everybody. Okay, cool. All right, you guys ready to get into the next segment? That
No.
Yeah.
I would normally. Oh, there it is. That I would normally apologize for, but this time I'm stoked about. But now Daulton said no, so I'm just gonna apologize for it again. So.
No, it's okay. Fucking hit us with it. Let's sink into the deep end. Let's
All right.
dive
I
foot
have.
first.
I have a thing here of notes. It's not as much as you would think. It's like more bullet points of topics that I need to hit. But for some
Sure.
reason, the first one on it is Halo Reach. So apparently I wanted to bring this up. And oh, I remember this now. So this is completely unrelated to anything that we've talked about in any episode so far, and will very likely not be related to anything we talk about in any episode since or afterwards. Is this a guy thing or a gamer thing? Do either of you just like sporadically for no fucking reason and for days at a time get the Halo Reach theme song stuck in your head to the point where you're tapping it on things? It's been plaguing me for like 3 days now. And now it will for you. I'm sorry, but I needed to talk about it.
I guess I'm safe because I don't. Halo was not my thing.
I know for a while I would whistle the like Halo Combat Evolved main theme, but not so much Halo
It's
Reach.
the and it's the Reach is the one I played the least of. Bump,
That's weird.
bump, 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 bump. It's just Anyway, that's I needed to bring that up apparently.
I like how you had that as a note to yourself to drive yourself insane.
I'll fucking take a picture and send it to you. It's at the top of my Warhammer notes. I don't know
He
why.
he literally said, "I'm suffering, so you guys have to suffer too," and was just like, "I'm gonna put this in your brain to torture you."
It's at the top of my Warhammer notes.
What an oddly
Hey,
specific thing.
I don't know. All right. So, anyway, to the listeners and viewers, last episode, Dalton awarded me. Let me back up a little bit more. Last episode, I brought not one but two games, and they both happened to be Warhammer. And then that kind of trailed off into a general Warhammer conversation with a couple of jokes that made Dalton laugh. In addition to me like name dropping Warhammer the past 5 episodes, Dalton awarded me 25 minutes to introduce them formally to Warhammer 40,000, of which I'm going to do Dalton my best. I have a 25-minute timer here, and when that hits 0, if I'm in the middle of a sentence, I will stop and we will move on to the next segment because this could just be its own fucking podcast. So, with that being said, Warhammer 40K is, if not one of my favorite subjects, period. And I say subjects because I'll explain that pretty quickly as we get into it. But I'm going to start the timer right now, and we're going to start with a quote. This quote is going to lay the general groundwork and framework for the feeling of what 40K is. And that
I'm
is...
still listening. I'm thirsty. I'm still
Okay.
listening. I'm thirsty.
I got you. All right. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor of mankind has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods and the master of a million worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the vast empire of man, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. Yet even in his deathless state, the emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets across the daemon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars, their ways lit by the Astronomicon, the psychic manifestation of the emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Greatest amongst his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, bioengineered super warriors. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Imperial Guard, and countless planetary defense forces, the ever-vigilant Inquisition, and the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to name only a few. But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat to humanity from aliens, heretics, mutants, and far, far worse. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. That is your official introduction to Warhammer 40K, and it's heavy as fuck. So, in the Warhammer scene, I'll call it a scene, it's the easiest thing to call it, there's multiple hobbies. On the surface, there's collecting the models, there's painting the models, there is actually playing the tabletop game, of which there are multiples of. There are playing the video games, and there's just kind of understanding the lore. Each of those things can fill the entire slot that a hobby would normally fill. For example, the models. The models are expensive, right? They're made out of a highly compressed. It's essentially a very, very highly compressed styrofoam. But it gives like uh Games Workshop is known for having like the most detailed miniatures models ever. And that's a lot of what you pay for. A squad of 5 Space Marines is going to cost you like $30. But because of the amount of factions and all that fun stuff in 40K, there are literally thousands and thousands of models to collect. And because of the price point on them and the fact that you have to assemble them yourself, people turn just collecting the models into its own hobby. That's kind of where I enjoy painting, but I buy way more models than I actually paint.
Not to eat up any of your time, but are there? It's like obviously they don't they mass produce these, but like to a certain
Right.
degree, and then they move on to like another set. Are there like are there sets that are like the Black Lotus of like Warhammer? Like,
So kind of, yeah. So the thing is, and you're not eating up any time, that's partially what this is for. Ask questions so you can understand. Um, kind of, they're not really like old things that are worth a lot. Warhammer Games Workshop licenses some of its models to a company called Forge World, and those are resin models, and they go for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If you are to find them secondhand, you're pretty much going to be paying shelf price that you would comparable to a new model. As far as like older stuff, the problem is, regardless of what you do with the hobby of 40K, the models are related to the painting, are related to the lore, related to the games, are related to the tabletop. But the tabletop is what drives all of it. So with rules changes, certain models will just drop off the face of the earth. Obviously, you can still go on eBay and buy them, but the fact that they're not usable in a game anymore because they don't have stats anymore is going to drive the price way down. So actually, the older it is, it's more more like a traditional product at that point because it's old and used. You're gonna find it for way cheaper. Unless of course you're talking a Forge World item. It doesn't matter that it doesn't have rules and that it's 35 years old. You're still going to be paying real pretty pennies for Forge World items. Forge World is also pretty much reserved for like the really large models, or we'll get into this in the tabletop, but a normal game consists of a 2,000 point armies, so 4,000 points total. A Forge World model may cost 1,500 points. So you get a Forge World model, and then you can like spend your measly little 500 points left on guys, maybe. So yeah, but the models just fucking look cool. Like if you were to you just Google image 40K models and the plethora of things that will come up is astonishing. 40K in Games Workshop also primarily drives the miniature painting market because there are other games out there that use minis. Where I'm gonna try pretty much combine the painting and model side of this as one short little topic. But the entire miniature painting hobby, which is its own fucking thing, Games Workshop owns or runs a very significant percentage of that. The tabletop is essentially, like I said, you have 2,000 point armies. They can be smaller, they can be bigger, and you duke it out. You have different objectives, and it's not like an RTS game where you have to wipe your enemy off the table to win. You have to complete certain objectives, but it's typically played on a 4 foot by 8 foot table with buildings or cardboard boxes and soda cans if you want to be cheap as terrain and obstacles, because the game uses a line of sight for fire. You got to get down there with your model and look, and if you can't see the enemy, you can't shoot him. Roll a shitload of dice and all that fun stuff. There's a shitload of factions to choose from. I can't count them all up. offhand, but we'll get into that with the lore. The tabletop's real fun. I haven't played it in years and years and years and years and years, but it's really, really fun. It's just kind of expensive to get into. Within the past couple of years, they recently came out with a cheaper option called Kill Team. Whereas 40k traditional is a 2,000 point army, which could consist of like 50 models or 60 models, each of them in like 5-man squads that have to stay together. Kill Team is played on a 2-foot by 3-foot map and only uses one of those 5-man squads. So you have access to all of the same factions that you do in 40k, but you only have to buy one box of models to play and the rulebook. So your entry cost goes from like $800 for an army to like a $30 box of dudes that you like the look of and the $30 rulebook. And however many fucking 7-Up cans you and your buddies can fucking rip through before you start the game to throw them on the table to fucking be obstacles. I have everything for Kill Team. If anybody wants to play, please let me know. I have everything for Kill. I have like 2 large armies or 3 large armies for 40k, but I have like 12 different factions for Kill Team. The games I talked about 2 games last episode. There's like fucking 100 40k games. There's a handful of mobile games that are actually really good, and they're not money grab. I mean, they are money grabs, but they're not egregious about it. There's an ass load of console games and PC games, of varying quality, and of every genre imaginable. It's just something. Actually, what's playing behind me right here is the trailer for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 that is set to come out in September. And it is very, very, very well weighted for. Like, look at this. This is actually what the in-game. This is not in-game. This is pre-rendered, but the in-game graphics are not far off from this whatsoever. If anybody remembers the World War Z game that followed the World War Z movie, they're using the same engine for this so that they can get tens of thousands of enemies on screen at once for hordes. Super stoked about it.
That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I actually just talked about the first game in the last episode. So this is like 10 or 12 years removed from its younger first one. So when it comes to 40k games, like just if you have an interest, search up, just literally anybody listening, go to Google, type Warhammer 40k and then the genre of game that you like, and I guarantee you that there's at least 2 for you to pick from. The lore. This is where the fun for me is. This is my favorite part, is the lore. So I kind of went over the basic lore literally in that quote. The majority of 40k follows humanity because humanity are the ones telling the story. But within 40k, there are an asinine number of factions, and some of them cross the divide to other tabletop games. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. But obviously, we have the Imperium of Man or humanity, and within the Imperium of Man, you can choose the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, and there are many, many, many different chapters. For example, the Blood Angels are essentially vampires. They drink blood. The Space Wolves are essentially space Vikings, and yes, you can ride wolves into battle, including on the miniatures. There's just the Salamanders, if I remember correctly, are like addicted to setting shit on fire. There's all sorts of crazy shit. The the most basic, however, are the Imperial Guard. They are very unique and interesting in the fact that they're just guys. I think I talked about this in the last episode. They're just guys with like just guns. Like, and they die by the millions. It's not unheard of to hear about a battle that the Imperial Guard won on a planet against X enemy, but they lost 13 million men on that planet. Like, that's normal. That's a normal fucking battle. But in addition to those, you also have what are called Xenos, which are the alien races. You have There's the orcs are technically a Xenos. We talked about those last episode. Go listen to the last episode if you want to know more about orcs. I went kind of in depth about them. There are chaos. Chaos is quite unique because I think I spoke about this in the last episode a little bit. There was a rip in space essentially, and chaos came through. And the different chaos gods are also in Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is essentially Warhammer but Lord of the Ringsy. It's high fantasy. But because they take place in the same universe, chaos can travel back and forth between them. So if you buy models to play chaos in 40K, you can also use those exact same armies as chaos in Warhammer Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy. Kind of cool. I have a small chaos army out there for that exact reason. But yeah, 40K is wild. There was one I was talking about the Imperium Man and the Imperial Guard. There's a small sect of the Imperial Guard called the Death Corps of Krieg. And essentially what they are is they're essentially 1940s Germans, but we can't call them Nazis for reasons. But essentially what it is the story goes, this is one of my favorite stories in 40K. The story goes that every planet in the Imperium of Man has to give instead of like we supply food, like our current culture and economy works, we all kind of give each other what we need. Our jobs give us money. The farmers give the grocery stores food. We go to the grocery stores. There's a network, right? The most important and valuable thing in the Imperium of Man is lives. The cheapest thing to get rid of is lives. So every planet has a tithe of humans that it has to supply every year to the Emperor for his armies. And Krieg, the planet of Krieg, didn't want to do that. The planetary governor pretty much said, "Go fuck yourself. You're not getting anybody. This is my planet. You have no authority here. Yada yada yada. Whatever." So essentially, what happened was the Emperor was like, "Oh, okay," and then sent a battle fleet to Krieg, who didn't have any like air defenses, like space defenses, and then they proceeded to bombard the planet for 500 years, non-stop. And at one point,
That's a bit excessive.
yeah, well, it drove the Krieg underground. And at one point, at one point, one of the Imperial commanders or whatever that was helping oversee the bombardment in like year 500 or whatever, literally said, "Sir, we haven't seen a sign of. We've scanned the planet. We haven't seen a sign of life anywhere on this planet, plant, animal, or otherwise, for the past year. What do you want us to do?" And the Imperial commander essentially said, "Continue for another 10 years." They continued to bombard the planet for 10 more fucking years. So long story short, they eventually ceased, and it turns out the Krieg had been living underground for 500 years, and due to all the toxins and shit like that from fucking being nuked for 500 years, if you ever see them in pictures on the tabletop and artwork, they wear these gas masks. And their physiology is so fucked up that if they take the gas masks off, they breathe their own personal atmosphere that they've developed. And if they take the gas mask off on pretty much anywhere, they will die. So they are just always in these like really eerie looking gas masks. Their horses, Krieg are awesome. Their horses have mutated to have like 2 extra hind legs. And their horses wear gas masks and shit. But the thing is that the Emperor forgave them as long as they doubled their tithe. And because of that, the Krieg have this like really, really fucking deep-seated urge and will to show the Emperor that they are sorry by sacrificing themselves for the Emperor. The greatest thing that a Krieg can do is lay its life down for the Emperor. And this is such a big problem that normally in the Imperial Guard, you have what's called a commissar. And imagine you, Cameron, you, Daulton, and me, we're going to go battle Tyranids that are on the screen behind me. And they're going to give us what I described as flashlights in the last episode. Laser rifles that do fuck all. And they're going to give us essentially class 3 plate armor like our soldiers wear today. Let's go. We go out, we see 85 of our guys get cut down in the first fucking line, and we go, nah, I'm done. The commissar's job is to improve morale, technically improve morale, by shooting deserters. You see enough of your guys get shot by your own boss, you're going to turn the fuck around and fight. That's the thought. The Krieg have such a big drive to lay down their lives that they are suicidal. Other soldiers, like from the Imperial Guard, get depressed being around them because they just want to die so bad that they have special commissars that essentially beg them not to charge headlong into battle to sacrifice themselves. Because they will just charge into battle just to die. They'll lay their guns down and just charge with a knife, just because it'll get them killed. They will die for the Emperor and they will be forgiven. It's
This
wild
is so
shit,
depressing.
dude. Which is why the orcs exist. So, which brings me back to the orcs. I told you about like fucking Grim Derp, how the orcs have a lot of like the stupidity to like even out a lot of the depressing shit. So, my favorite thing about the orcs is they have what's called squigs. So a squig is how can I describe a squig? I'm looking at a picture. It's a ball of flesh. It is a mean ball of teeth with
Echo
legs.
Demon from Doom.
Yes,
Well,
with
plus
legs.
legs.
With legs. That's exactly what it is. But they use squigs for everything. Let me run down a quick list of squigs that are in 40k. Attack squigs, bag squigs, bile squigs, bitey squigs, bomb squigs, boom squigs, bowel torrent squigs. Okay. Burna squigs, buzzer squigs, buzzing squigs, chewing squigs, colossal squigs, eaten squigs, guard squig, face eater squigs, flesh eater squigs, gas squig, gob squig, hair squigs, hairy squigs, herd squigs, horn squigs, juicy squigs, mimics, fun, oily squigs, orcosaurus, paint squigs, parasite hunting squigs, screech squigs, spiky squigs, splodin squigs, squidgeon, squid hawk, squig hog, squig hounds, squigosaur, squid pipe, squig shark, squig goths, stick squig, swab squig, syringe squig, targeting squig, vaccine squig, vampire squig, and word squig.
I don't know how you were like so good at not tripping up on your words there.
Oh shit.
Wig.
So like the most basic bomb squigs, they're squigs with a bomb strapped to their back. Fucking orcs throw them at things. Orcs say go attack. The squig goes boom. Boom squigs are the same thing, but its defense mechanism is to go boom. Burna squigs burst into flames. Bowel torrent squigs, well, it kind of speaks for itself. They're known to be amongst the most revolting and panic-producing organisms in the galaxy. That is the extent of the description of those. Got chewing colossal squigs. They're the largest variants of squigs known to exist. They're like 15 feet tall. Cool. Gas squig. They produce toxic gas, so orcs with gas masks throw the squigs in combat. Let's see. Hair squigs are a parasitic variety of squig, which possess small bodies, no legs, no eyes, and a pair of pincers in place of its mouth. They have long hair running from their tiny bodies that orcs like to customize and dye after clamping the squig pincers into their own hairless heads. Though this customization has no effect on the squid's health. So if you look up pictures of orcs from 40k and they have hair, that's a hair squig. Yeah. Squig hogs are large, four-legged squigs used as cavalry mouths by squadrons of orc squig hog boys. The Squigosaur are large two-legged squigs that that beast snaggas ride upon. The syringe squig. Yeah, this one's one of my favorite. Is it this one or is it? Hold on. Is it the vaccine squig? No, it's the syringe. The syringe squigs are primarily used for medicinal purposes. The medical squig has natural properties, which pain boys, which is like their healing shamans essentially, find used in their craft of patching together battle damaged orcs. Syringe squigs have long needle sharp. Okay, so this brings up another interesting point about orcs. So I mentioned orcs are essentially a fungus, which means like if I go and I chop off the arm of a orc and it lays there on the ground, if it lays there long enough, that arm will grow a body. Also, the orc will grow
like a
an arm.
starfish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
it's
much
like a
what it is.
starfish. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those are squigs. I only have a minute left, so. I barely touched the surface of anything in 25 minutes. Talk about a whole ass game in 25 minutes. I barely touched anything. Fucking love 40K, dude. But I will concede my last 44 seconds. So, unless anybody has any questions that can be answered in 40 seconds.
What's your favorite game from the franchise?
Probably Warhammer 40K Gladius. It is a mixture. I want to say it's not a mixture between it's Total War. It's essentially Total War for 40K. I was gonna say it's like Civilization, but there's really not any civilization building or like geopolitics involved. It's just battle, which fits with. But yeah, that's essentially Warhammer 40K Gladius. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 40K's over. Oh my god, it beeped. Jesus. Okay, shut up. Fuck. All right, that's 40K. Y'all want to start a podcast? Last thing, it's
So,
not really related to describing it. If anybody wants to know more, including the two of you, I will put it in the show notes. Adeptus Ridiculous is an amazing podcast, and I was actually trying to get one of the co-hosts from Adeptus Ridiculous on here for this episode to do this for me because Bricky would do an amazing job compared to me. My lazy ass didn't even fucking email him. And also, Luton09, if you are our YouTube audience, or if you just would rather watch videos or see images with your stuff while it's being described, Luton09 on YouTube. So,
hey, John already got a split channel name for you if you really want to do this. Doorhammer.
what is it? Lorehammer?
Door. Door.
Doorhammer?
Door
Wait,
hammer.
is that an invitation to do a 40K podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll just be a branch off of our already existing podcast.
We can do that. I don't care. I'll just like release it as an extra episode.
It'll just be the two of you just jerking each other off while I'm
Oh, now
playing
I'm
something
offended.
else.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Oh.
Ah, shit.
And I'm like,
God
hey
damn.
guys, how about that weather?
On what planet?
I'm talking about fucking X Planet and X Battle, and Dalton's like, what was the weather like that day?
Depressing.
You know, it's funny. The lore is so deep, I could probably find it for you. There's like 4 dogs in here on the floor. What the fuck? All right. Anyway, that was Warhammer. Who wants to talk about video games? Like their because that's all we've done for
I have
an hour and 15 minutes now.
I can do it. I'll do it. I'll go.
You
Hey
got it?
guys, I'm gonna do it. All right, so hey guys, welcome to my segment of me talking about something that I did this week. And by that I mean the game that I chose to play. All right. You know what I've been doing? Oh, wait, this is going to sound like an advertisement or something. Or it's like,
This whole segment so far is making me feel really uncomfortable.
so I've been trying to find new hobbies, right?
Motorcycles? What?
No, it's a different thing. Something
Off
I have not
topic.
brought
Sorry,
up yet.
listeners, you're not gonna know what this is. Yes, that was your shed. Continue.
Oh, okay. Cool. I figured. So I've been trying to get into different hobbies and doing different things. And here recently, I have taken somewhat of an interest in sports. Not like anything crazy. Like I didn't watch any of the Olympics because I just didn't. Um, but I have been playing and learning about two different sports. One of them is pickleball. Unrelated to today. That is not what I will be talking about.
I like.
The
Yeah.
what?
I just didn't know where you were going with that, so I was like trying to mash two things in my head together and it wasn't working.
Yeah, so one of them is pickleball. That has nothing to do with the game that I'm talking about today. However, the other one has been golf. This is about to be the most boring segment in the world. Guys, I played golf for like 10 hours in a week on
Did you
PGA
enjoy it?
Tour, on PGA Tour 2K21 on my PS5.
We're back at the 18th hole, and what a scene it is. After an exciting debut on the PGA Tour, it all comes down to this. If Mac makes this putt, he'll walk away with it.
I was gonna say my brain was like pickleballing. My brain was pickleballing back and forth between PGA Tour and Mario Golf, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I chose to spend my time this week playing PGA Tour 2K21.
did you at least enjoy it? Because I mean, not to like knock your new hobby or whatever, but like golf puts me to sleep. That is one sport that I absolutely cannot watch.
Hey,
So
Daulton,
I figured out I can't watch it. I will agree it is quite boring to watch, in my opinion.
I would
However,
like to counter what Cameron said, in that I've always had a small interest in real golf. So if you would like to go try it, I will go with you.
Just go to a driving range and just
No practice.
oh.
We'll go play.
oh no,
We'll go
no,
play.
you can't.
Yeah. We'll
No,
play
you
18
can't. You
holes
can't.
and just
You,
figure
you
it out.
can't do that. I actually don't think like clubs would let you do that. Like I don't think you can just go and play. Like you have to like at least know something.
Continue.
Unless you want to get yelled at by a bunch of old dudes that have been playing golf for the past like 50 years or some shit. But so the way that this started out is I was just like, oh, golf sounds kind of cool, and then I saw that I had a free game on my PS5 from just like a PlayStation Plus release that I had picked up, and I was like, you know what? I never just play a game to just play a game. This is going to be completely outside of my comfort zone, and I'm going to try something that I think sounds loosely interesting, and it's completely different from anything that I've ever played before. So I downloaded PGA Tour 2K21, and I've been playing the career mode, and the whole inspiration behind it was I wanted to play actual golf. And I was like, well, I can't play actual golf yet because I don't have any clubs and I don't have anybody to teach me. And so I'm just gonna like try it out. And then it turns out my girlfriend's dad is a big golfer. So then he was like, oh, I'll take you to the range. So we go to the driving range.
Are you living a Lifetime movie?
Maybe, I don't know.
Good.
But we go to the driving range, right?
Mhm.
And I am terrible. Like I'm not great, but I'm not bad, but like I'm not good. Like I can't hit the ball straight.
I was gonna say you can hit the ball, it's just not in the direction you want it to go in.
Yeah, I know. Like I can sometimes make contact with the ball, and even when I do, it does not go anywhere near where it needs to go. And this was just doing driving range stuff. I didn't even try to do anything else because I was just bad.
Right.
But so I start playing actual golf, right? and by play actual golf, I mean just go on a driving range. And he's helped me. Her dad's helped me with my swing, like just trying to give me some pointers and things and help me out. And I'm playing this golf game, and guys, it is probably one of the most relaxing experiences I've had playing a video game. Because, Cameron, like I said, I don't find golf to be like a very entertaining sport to watch. But that game was just so chill and so nice and so relaxing. So let me actually get into it a little bit. So
Farm sim syndrome.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
because like you said, you mentioned Mario Golf. I've played one of the games on the GameCube, and like that was
It's it's fun.
okay. Like obviously it's not realistic, and everything is like
Right.
over the top, like cartoonish, but it was all right.
You would really enjoy then, Dalton, the second that you get a VR headset, get golf with friends.
I've played it actually. It's pretty fun.
It's VR golf is like it's there, dude. It's fun. Anyway, you were gonna get into it.
Oh yeah. So I'm getting into it now that I rambled for a little while. So PGA Tour 2K21 sports golf game, developed by HB Studios and published by 2K. It was released on Windows, PlayStation, and Xbox August 21st, 2020, and then it got a Switch port. Oh, it got a Switch port on the same date. For some reason, it specifies the North American and the European releases,
Okay.
but it features like a lot of actual like real customization. The consistency in your shot actually plays into like how you would physically hit a golf ball. So there's a lot of like interesting levels of realism where there were a couple times where like my timing would be slightly off, so then like my rhythm would get off, and so my shot wasn't as good. But I already talked a little bit about the mechanics. The game itself actually features like a bunch of different real courses. Now, obviously, I didn't because I'm not a big golf person. I don't recognize any of them directly. Like I'm just like, oh, those look like golf courses, and like that's as far as my brain goes because I obviously can't identify them like by name because
Right.
I don't watch the PGA Tour. I don't watch any other like big golf tournaments or championships or anything like that. So a lot of it is stuff that I am not super familiar with. But just to name some of their real courses, uh, the Atlantic Beach Country Club, Detroit Golf Club, Bay Hill Club and Lodge, Eastlake Golf Club, and the Innisbrook Resort and Golf Club. And there's like 10 or 15 more on this list, but I won't list them all. Um, yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really have a lot to talk about with the game. I played a lot of golf on my PlayStation, and me being like starting to hyper obsess over golf is kind of driving my girlfriend nuts.
That's awesome.
Because I never thought it would be a sport that I would be even remotely interested in. And oh, I guess I kind of forgot to state what even started it. So we went to Top Golf for my dad's birthday. That's where it like immediately manifested, and then it just got worse. Like the urge to play actual golf just got stronger, and so then I needed to like find a way to enjoy it without actually playing, and then that's when I was like, I'm gonna download this game because it looks fun, and then I did.
What is Top Golf?
Top Golf is like if real life golf had mobile games tied to it, so you can like, you know, when you go to a driving range and it has like the colored targets that you can
Oh
hit
yeah.
out on the actual range. So in Top Golf, they track your ball either with like a software or a camera or something. So when you hit the ball in real life, it gives you points. And then you can like compete with the people that you're golfing with to see who can score
Okay.
the most points.
All right. That's interesting. I
But
like
yeah,
how you I like
that's
how
kind of
you
where it started.
threw yourself out there as like hyper obsessing with it though. Because a coworker that we work with has recently been hyper obsessing over horse racing. So
Oh.
it's really weird that you brought this up in the same couple days that he is talking about horse racing at at Scioto Downs and like betting. So so
Is it who I think it is? You
Yeah.
just said betting. Is it who I think it is?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's been so much
City
that
7.
I am
Is it City
starting
7?
to fucking look into horse racing. And now I'm gonna
Is it
look into golf.
It's
City
6 or 7. It's got to be 6 or 7.
It is 7.
So,
Or it's 6. It is 6. I'm sorry. It's
6?
6.
Oh, okay.
It is 6.
Well, that's still not that surprising, but
No.
No,
But
I
now
immediately thought I immediately thought 6
Well,
when you said that.
I've always had a soft interest in golf, but now I also want to go to Scioto Downs and see what the fuck's up with horse racing.
hey, there's a sport. Hey, there's a sport for that already. Polo. Just saying.
Shit.
It is literally horse golf.
That is a rich fucker's sport, though. That is like, I don't have that kind of money.
You work for the post office. What are you doing
I
with all
work
your
for the
money?
government, which means I don't make shit.
Uh,
Uh,
What was that, Dalton? What?
it's,
eh,
God. So that was PGA Tour 2K. Is it 2K or is it 2000?
2K 21.
2K 24 or 21? Okay. Was
Yeah.
that the last one that came out?
Nope, I just haven't played them. That was the only one I had.
Do they do a fucking annual thing?
I think if not, they at least have 2K23.
That is the main reason.
Oh,
I can't
no,
fucking
they
stand
did.
sports games.
They did 2K23 and then they did the PGA Masters. They made because the PGA
Okay.
Masters tour
Alright.
happened this past year.
I
So
gotcha.
instead of doing like a regular 2K20 like 24 release, they just
Mhm.
did the PGA Masters instead of.
Gotcha. Did they tack a date onto that? PGA Masters 2K24 or 2024?
No, I think they just straight up just changed the title for that specific event because it's like an event that only comes around every so often,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
See, that's the main reason that I do not like sports games.
It is annoying.
The every
because
year
they sell-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like most people, I imagine, I feel compelled to get the new one, even though
Yeah.
minimal things have changed. If you were to play multiplayer on a lot of them, the fan base moves the fuck on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A small percentage will stay because, oh yeah, they didn't change anything. But like, you're talking a handful out of a swimming pool. You know what I mean? So,
I didn't even think to try and play that game online. I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that and give an update. Make a note that I need to provide an update.
it will require it from you. I imagine it would probably just be, where like the multiplayer session is just like stats. It's mostly stats on a screen.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. Well, I think it might kind of be like Wii Sports in a way where you can watch the other people as they take their shots.
Okay. All right. Right on.
I could be wrong, but I feel like that would make the most sense.
Okay.
so you
Right on.
still
Or-
didn't really answer my question.
Shit.
Did you enjoy your time playing it?
Yeah. No, like
Yeah, okay.
that's what I was getting at when I said that it was like lax time.
Okay, that's fair.
It was just not. It was nice to just do something different.
Yeah, that is probably the most off beaten path of a video game that we've discussed on this channel thus far.
When he was doing the intro, when he was talking about like it's made by this and it was released this, all I could think about was like I can't wait to get into the editing room and throw the fucking trailer for this game into the video.
It's just Tiger Woods.
Oh, shit.
No, you'll just have like an Australian dude being like, "Oh, that shot's hitting the cut stuff," and like that's the whole game.
That's awesome. Oh god, I hope it's something like just really off the fucking wall like that.
Yeah,
So-
the music is also if they
It's
use
golf
music
It's
that's like
sports. It is slow sports music. I
if
can
it's
already picture it.
yeah, if it's anything similar like in the trailer to what it is in the actual game, it is probably going to be the most underwhelming like game trailer you've ever listened to because normally music is like very prevalent in trailers. And if it's anything like the actual game, it's going to be the most underwhelming, relaxing experience of your life.
Well, it's a good thing I keep it to 10 seconds so we don't get copyright struck.
Oh,
just
there you go.
enough time to hear an Australian dude go, "Oh, that shot's amazing," and then you start talking, and everybody's like,
That
"What
one will hit the cut stuff. That's my favorite line.
shit? Is that all you have on golf?" You're
Yeah,
right.
that's literally.
This might be the shortest Daulton segment. I went back through after I texted you guys that every episode, your segment is the longest because
Yeah, I
we
just.
just talk about shit. This might be the
Yeah,
shortest Daulton segment.
I'll take
I
it.
mean, I
Like I said,
yeah.
I didn't really have much to say other than sharing my experience and being like, this was very fun.
Okay. Yeah,
I
I
it
respect
Yeah,
that.
it was the
don't.
it I accomplished the exact objective I did or that we set out to do with this podcast. I tried something new. I tried something different. I played a video game and it opened up a different world for me. So
Cool. Hell yeah. Are you gonna continue down that path at all? Is there anything else like
like actual golfing or the video game?
no, like the for the podcast, not for the podcast, but for your video game journey. Is this gonna are we gonna am I gonna look on fucking Discord next or on Steam next and find out that you're 500 hours deep into F1 Manager or some shit like that? Or
I
Football
think I'm
Manager, which are
I
both
think
fucking spreadsheet simulators disguised as games.
Yeah, I think that I will genuinely try to play like some more sports games because I have a back catalog of stuff that's just been sitting. Like I have like the like NBA 2K24
Okay.
and keep in mind again, I did not buy any of these because I'm with you. The whole like yearly release of sports
Right.
games is obnoxious because most of the time
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't change anything except for the people that are in the game because like the players change, but that's
Right.
about it.
Was it keeping on the subject of sports games but switching from golf? Was it NBA Jam that was there was a basketball game that didn't take place in courts. It took place on the streets. And
It's just called NBA Street. I'm pretty
oh,
sure.
was it Street? Dude,
hmm
I've played the fuck out of Street on the PS2.
I played
Holy
NFL Street
shit.
on the PS2, and I actually think it was NFL Street 2, like it was the sequel,
Really?
and it was awesome. Me and my brother like played that until our eyes fell out of our skulls.
Yeah, I was never big on sports games, but like the backyard sports games, I fucking love. So, right on. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think any of the ones that have like a bit of a quirk to it, like sports games that aren't just sports games,
Well,
a lot of times are
yeah.
the good versions.
Well, like if you remember NBA Street, the biggest driving is like, why should I play another game? To get more money so you can afford that fucking kick-ass diamond chain and new fucking grill, dude. Why the fuck? It wasn't about like it wasn't about a bracket or anything like that. It was literally just like, I'm gonna play another game against this fuckwad because I need new spinner rims for my fucking car that can sit in the background. That's what I need, so I'm gonna play.
So here's okay. So this just kind of popped into my head because we were talking about sports games and how realistic they've become over the years because of obviously graphical improvements and hardware and all that nonsense. Um, I think it was either football or basketball. They because like obviously they pick like actual people and they model them into the game.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know. Um, I think it was basketball. A player tried to sue the company because the tattoo that they had gotten done on their body, meaning it is theirs, they paid for it,
Right.
was like 1-to-1 replicated in the game, and they
Mhm.
didn't like that, so they tried to sue the game company to get money from their tattoo.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Did it
just
work?
like that.
Wait, was it like
I
an athlete in the game, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
it
It
was
was
a
an
basket.
athlete.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
the legal area for that, we're gonna get like straight off topic. This is legal eagle type shit. If anybody knows what legal eagle is, but when you become a celebrity and you simply breathing air and existing in a 3D space is valuable and has a dollar sign attached to it, ownership of yourself becomes really fucking weird. So you technically you Cameron, you're walking down the street, somebody can take a picture of you. You don't get a fucking say because you're in a public space, right?
Yeah.
anytime, and they own that picture, but they don't own your likeness. They can go sell it and make money off of it, and you could sue them for that money, right? Because they're using your likeness without your permission, right? So,
Yes.
it's flipped when you're a fucking celebrity. So when you sign on with a management company, your likeness is not yours anymore. It becomes theirs. They own your likeness. And whatever they decide to do with your likeness is completely out of your control. Your likeness is literally you, what you look like. It's your likeness, right? So if somebody takes a picture of you, paparazzi, for example, the paparazzi company immediately owns that picture, and then they try to sell it, but you don't like it, so you go to your management company. They sue them, and then they get the money, but you want some of the money, but they say no because you don't own your likeness, they do. So you don't get any of that money from the paparazzi.
That's
What
so
you get
dystopian.
is
What?
part of what you get is the money from the movie deal that they are about to get you. That's why they're there. It's so fucking wild. You don't own yourself when you become a celebrity. It's so that tattoo thing, players belong to a team or a management company, probably both depending on for marketing reasons. But even if he had won that tattoo thing, he probably never would have saw any of the money. It would have went to the team or the management company. And then you know what he would have got out of it? His paycheck. It's so stupid. Legal time's over, but dude, it's so fucking weird. The fact that you don't own you, if you it's like willful slavery almost. You're getting paid, but like it's so weird. There's a rabbit hole there for sure. Another reason I could never be if this podcast pops off and we start getting like deals, I want no part of it at all. We're managing ourselves. If somebody else tries to manage us, we're done. So, on that note, that was PGA 2K21.
Yeah, it
Golf-
went a little
golf,
off the
uh,
rails, but
Golf claps.
Yeah, golf
Sorry.
claps. Ooh, yes. All right, Cameron, would you like to go, or would you like?
Yeah,
me to go?
I can go.
Okay.
So to preface this, because there's a little bit of explaining to do, with the story of this game. Do either of you guys remember a French animation that was on Cartoon Network called Code Lyoko?
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Holy
Okay.
locked away memory. Hold on, before you continue, I need to actually see it because. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yep.
I'll explain it, Daulton, so it's not like going to be completely foreign to you. But this cartoon had these students going to like a private like high school basically, and one of them ended up finding this factory that had this high-tech computer in it that was capable of digitizing people and basically putting them in a video game. Now,
Played this. I remember this game.
oh yeah, there was like one or two games
Yeah.
for it, but so in this digital reality, there was a character. Her name was Aelita, and she was like the daughter of the guy who like made it, and he like put her in there to keep her safe, basically. But at the same time, there is another character that I don't think is ever actually shown, but like how they interact with the world itself, named Xana. And Xana was able to basically seep out of the digital realm into the real world and infect things to try and destroy this computer, because that was its only purpose, was that it wanted to destroy Aelita and the computer and be its own entity, like out in the world. So in order to like contain Xana, these kids had to go into the digital realm and like reset it every so often. Like anytime Xana got out, they would reset it, and it would like reset the actual like reality of the world that they lived in. And it would basically like repeat the day, but like because they started it over, Xana never got out, and the problem that Xana caused wasn't actually a problem. Really cool anime. I suggest you watch it if you can even find it. But anyway, so this leading into the actual game that I played, relatively similar. I picked Zenless Zone Zero. Which is an anime gotcha game.
Okay.
So I gotta pull up my web page here.
I gotta say,
So-
we're
so-
hitting some pretty unprecedented ground this episode.
Yeah, like I said, this isn't really the type of game that I play normally. I'm not into gotcha games because the
I was gonna
entire
say anime
the entire
games or
purpose.
gotcha games?
No, gotcha game. Anime games, yes. Gotcha games, no.
I know we've
Um,
seen the Discord logs, Cameron. We know the anime is your shit.
Yeah.
We pulled your financial accounts too. We know exactly how much you spend on. What is $800 for a maid outfit anyway? It's change, man. It's fine. Everybody
It's
needs
like
a maid
this pocket
outfit.
change, man. But yeah, a gotcha game essentially is like, hey, give us money and you get in-game currency to spend on basically a capsule machine, like a bubblegum machine that like dispenses like little action figures, you know. But instead of it like being like 1 in 50 chance of getting this character, it's like 0.000000001% chance of getting this character. So they really want your money.
Right.
So I don't really agree with that.
Is this?
But
Is this you? Did you bring this like to? Is this a cry for help? Did you bring this to the podcast as a cry for help?
no. I have invested $0 into this game so far, and it will stay that way. I promise. Because if not, I will be
so you
bankrupt.
this is like gonna be a biased review because you didn't spend no money, so you ain't gonna have no fun.
It's better
Well,
than I could say for Genshin Impact. I played an hour and I spent money on Genshin.
I did install that game shortly after. I have yet to play it, but it is installed.
Genshin's fun. Genshin's actually pretty fun. Anyway,
So yeah, like I said, it's a gotcha game to a degree. To a degree, basically, you're trying to get like the higher level characters that they offer on whatever monthly reset they do or whenever they add a new character. This game was it is a action role playing game developed and published by I believe it's miHoYo. It's the company. They have their own little Hoyo verse, I believe is what it is. It's their like their whole website.
okay.
It came out on July 4th, 2024. So relatively newer game. Let's see. It's available on Windows, iOS, Android, and PlayStation 5. It is like I said, it's a action role playing game. It's also a gotcha game. It's also a hack and slash game. It is single player. But like I was saying with the Lyoko, the story of this game so far, I've only made it to chapter 2, is that you play as you can either play it's brother and sister that work in this company as they're called proxies, and they basically monitor the situation going on in the zones that are called hollows, which is basically the digital realm in Code Lyoko, more or less.
Mhm.
So they pay attention to what's going on, and then they contract people to go into the hollow and like deal with the actual issue. You play as those characters, but you also play as the characters that they contract. So
Okay.
it's not. Yeah, it's weird. You play as like every character in the game, but the story is driven by the brother and sister that do the contracting.
Right.
But in this universe, they have issues like with Xana, but instead of it being like a one thing that just kind of occurs, it's more like, hey, this hollow just kind of opened up in the city, and anything within like this diameter of this sphere is trapped in this hollow, and they need to be saved. They have special forces like police officers basically that go in and try to save civilians that get caught. Apparently they don't do their job very well because you have outside contractors that are technically illegal in this universe doing the same thing.
Okay.
So one major point is that if you are a civilian and you get stuck in a hollow, there's no way out except for a proxy saving you or the little special forces coming in and saving you, because they have to use computer algorithms to determine the weakest point in the hollow, which basically acts as a back door to get in and out of the hollow. Otherwise, you're going to be trapped in there. The longer you stay in the hollow, you get corrupted. And if you're in there too long, you basically become these creatures called ethereals, which are like an amalgamation of machine parts, non-organic material, and your body. And once you're fully corrupted, you basically become this mindless slave of whatever the hollow is. And that's about as far as I've got, story-wise.
All right. So, this is a mobile game.
Also on platforms, yes, but yeah, a mobile game.
Okay. That's the thing I was going to ask next, because you mentioned that you installed Genshin Impact. It is also like multi-mobile platform. There's got to be a term
Yeah,
for that.
it started off on mobile, and I believe it went to consoles.
So the big thing about Genshin, that Genshin's old-ish at this point, but when it came out, one of the things that it was like recognized for was that it was console quality game. It was a console quality game on a mobile phone, which, I mean, if anybody's picked up a fucking phone and perused the game section of the Play Store anytime in the past 10 years, knows that that is an extreme rarity, but it's becoming more and more common. So my question to you is, having played this on console, how does it stand up to other like console games? Like, does it feel like you're playing a console game, or are you bombarded with little tidbits here and there? Not the microtransaction-y type stuff, but like maybe engine or gameplay restrictions and stuff like that. Stuff that just feels like, oh yeah, this is a mobile game. This is being roadblocked by the limitations of mobile, I guess. Because that's
So,
the big
like,
thing that's like driven me away from these kind of games, is if I do want to get on them on the computer or on the PlayStation or something like that, I want to sit down and enjoy myself and not constantly be reminded, like when I try to go do something that you can do in a traditional game, it's not a function or a feature because it's a mobile.
so yes, and no. Dealing with the game controls, like with an actual controller, the game's fun. Like there's not really not an issue there.
Right.
In fact, because it's on the PlayStation, you have the little swipe pad, and you can use that, and it'll have like a mouse cursor. Like if you don't
Okay.
want to use the buttons, you can like move around and, like stuff like that.
Okay.
But now that being said, I haven't played Genshin yet, but
Okay.
I know that's more open world,
Yes.
more or
Yes.
less. This game is not quite like that. It'll be like, hey, you're in your little hideout den, masquerading as a record or a video game, or my god, videotape shop. Like you run like a front end business, and then you have like your supercomputer in the back that allows you to monitor all this stuff going on.
Right.
Like you're in there, have to leave the shop to go do something out on like this little main strip of like a city that they introduce you to. Loading zone. You want to go to the next area. Loading zone.
Oh, it's
Loading
like
zone.
the Borderlands is a lot like that. There's
Yeah,
a term for it, where it's open world. You can explore it, but everything. Well, I continue talk. I have to find the name for this.
You're fine. So like it is heavily pulled from the mobile version. So like the loading screens can be kind of annoying, but they're not long loading screens. It's just kind of like breaking immersion, interrupting the flow of gameplay and stuff like that, which I don't really have a problem with, but I know some people would. Now they have like 3 different styles of gameplay in this game. You have like your life simulator. I use air quotes because like you're playing as the proxy and you're doing your day-to-day routines. And then you have like a top-down type deal where you're playing as the proxies. They're called oh my gosh, hold on. I've got to look it up. Got to look it up.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good.
You're playing,
When you say,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna ask when you're talking about your a lifestyle sim. Are you talking like Persona maybe, where like you're the hero of the world, but you still got to go to school. You still got to
Yeah,
do
but
your fucking classes.
not that in depth. It's just kind of
Okay,
like, hey, your daily login bonuses because it is a mobile game. They want you
right,
to
your
keep coming
fucking
back.
dailies,
Like,
yeah. Okay.
go to the coffee shop, get a cup of coffee. Go to the arcade, play an arcade game. Go to the store, check on what they have for sale. You know, like it gives you these prompts to do when you start playing the game.
Okay. And
Um,
by the way, it's literally just called a semi-open world game.
oh, okay.
I
Okay.
thought there was like a more technical term than that, but no, that's what it is.
But the game type I was just getting ready to talk about, it's like a top-down version from the perspective of they're called bang boos. They're these little like cute kawaii rabbits.
Okay.
If you look up the game, you'll see them
Yeah,
instantly. They're kind of like the
I'm
mascot for the game.
like a Moogle is to Final Fantasy, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I
But
see
it's
it.
from
Yeah.
like their
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like from
he's
their
adorable.
perspective, and you're playing like this tile-based game where you have to like move and like either attack enemies, avoid enemies, do these little objectives, collect these things. Um, and that's like it's like a whole nother game type. And then you have the actual gameplay that I enjoy the most, which is the hack and slash, where you're inside of the hollows and you're fighting these creatures, and it takes on more of like a Dark Souls esque, like not difficult, but like the move set of like, hey, you have these abilities, you know, you have your weapons, you're trying to defeat like hordes of enemies, you know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um,
No, I got you.
again, so yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I sent a link in. I'm upset. I looked up what a Bang Boo was, and I'm immediately obsessed with him. By the way,
Dude,
so I
they have a
sent
contest going on. The Oyo has a contest going on. They have like a picture of like a dotted outline of like a typical Bang Boo, and it's like, hey, create your own and send it to us, and if you're lucky, we'll put it in the
oh my
game.
god, that's awesome.
Oh,
You'd be
I
interested in the link that I just sent you.
yeah,
Then.
I will probably be doing that.
For those listening or watching, I found a 12-inch plushie of one on Amazon pretty quick, and I fucking
Immediately
want
buying
one.
it.
I downloaded the game. I played the first 5 minutes, and I already want this after Cameron talked about it. So, God, there's a Bang
But
Boo stuck in a shark. What? A shark boo?
yes, yeah, that character that I was like bombarding the group chat with, that's like her Bang Boo, basically.
AliExpress has a pack of like 9 different. Okay. Anyway, there's a rabbit's hole here to go down. Can continue.
Literally. Um, so where the gotcha aspect of this game comes in, is that you start off with like 3 or 4 characters, and as you progress through the game, you can get more and more characters. But the skill sets that they have and their damage output is tied to how that character is ranked. So you might get a character that's say like level C or level B. They're going to be doing mediocre damage. What you're wanting is like level S characters, which are the ones that
Okay.
they want your money for. Low drop rate.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All of the characters. Yeah. All the characters have their own like move sets, more or less their own special move sets.
Disapproval. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But like more or less the gameplay is the same. You're paying for characters that look different and have like 1 or 2 special moves that are different.
Skinner box. It's essentially a Skinner box.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Yeah, I downloaded this, and I think I texted you when I did. I downloaded it. I played through like the first 10 or 15 minutes of it. I got sidetracked by something. Like I had to close. I have the Google Fold, the Pixel Fold.
Oh.
So this fucking beautiful huge screen, and I literally had to shut the phone and go do something, and I haven't picked it back up yet. But I've been meaning to look at it again. Actually,
I will
I think it's
say
still on my home screen.
the first like hour and 15 hour 30 minutes of the game gonna be tutorials, and it's really really hard to get through all of them.
Really,
Yeah, I literally forced myself to.
like I was gonna say. Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Like difficulty or slog, but apparently it's
Just
slog.
slog. It's just like, hey, do this. Okay, now here's like 15 text boxes to read through on every single button input that this does.
Right. Right. That's
So,
fair.
so they I don't know, they could probably dial that back a little bit. But get through it, you're fine. I mean, it's just straight gameplay.
Right on. All right. Dalton, you have anything for him for Zenless Zone Zero? Which, by the way, before he gets into it, quick quip. That is one of the funnest series of 3 words that I've ever said in my life.
Have you seen the logo for the game? That is one of the
Yeah.
coolest logos I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Zenless
a
Zone Zero.
it's like a zigzag of like 2 Z's stacked on top of each other, and then a
Mhm.
giant Z cutting them in half. I was like, that's slick. That's a slick logo.
Anyway, Dalton, you got anything for him?
Not really. You said that you haven't spent any money on it yet. Do you plan to?
No. I gotcha
That's
games
the
are where
question
I
that
draw
matters.
gotcha games are where I draw the line. And
I
and it's
see.
stupid because like the pricing isn't the issue. The price you're paying like 99 cents for like a pack of like 20 draws for this character. That's fine. I don't have a problem with their pricing. It's just that the drop rate is so low that I feel like my luck is so bad that it would be like, okay, now I've spent $60 on a game that's free to play and have yet to get the character that I want.
Yeah. It's like if you're
Meanwhile-
gonna commit to spend $1 on a game like that with the rates so low, you're practically committing to spending like $200.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
I'm in too deep now. I can't turn around now.
And I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with like in-game cosmetics like that. That's fine. Like if you want to pay money, because I do that. I buy in-game cosmetics, but
Sure.
those
we
are
know.
guaranteed. Yes.
Right.
I know you know, Dalton.
You know,
my
weird
Do they-
take. Weird
Go ahead.
take, and hear me out. I think it is, for me personally, less valuable to spend money on cosmetics in a video game as opposed to spending money on a loot box that could make me better at the game.
I'm dog shit no matter what I do in most games, so I'd rather have the cosmetics.
Fair enough.
And
then
some of that is a willfulness because most games I don't have the energy or drive to want to get better. I'm for the most part happy at the fucking most Halo games I lead teams, most Call of Duty games I fucking am carried and I'm okay with that. I just want to look cool while I play.
But yeah, Dalton, you get into the area and it used to be really bad. Game companies are kind of backing off of that now, but like loot boxes where it is pay to win. Like if you want to get good, you have to pay money because the chances of you getting a good weapon, that just one shot someone.
Right.
Companies are kind of backing off that because of the whole debacle with was it Battlefront 2?
Yes.
Where they had loot boxes with characters that were
the EU flat out came out and said that loot boxes were gambling and you will no longer have them in this game. And they took it out of it globally because it was easier than creating 2 versions of the game. And now loot boxes in general are illegal in the EU And that's why you hardly ever find them over here in the States, because how many game companies release a game only NA? Yeah,
So
yes, to answer your question, yeah, it was Battlefront 2.
yeah, so
Yeah, or at
things
least
like
that was
that
the
are
one.
becoming.
That
That was
game
the tipping
I
point.
feel like
It was yeah.
yeah, that game, the reason that it was the tipping point though was just because right when it released, everyone was able to just spend money to have the best items, and it flat out gave you an unreasonable advantage. There are some
Yeah,
games where I can see it as if it's just like a jump start to the beginning gameplay. Like if you could spend like in okay, this is a little controversial because people hated this when they added it to Destiny, but Destiny had like the most recent like character boost thing that you could buy, where it was just like you get all the subclasses and you get all the other stuff like right off the rip, right at the beginning. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to play any of the campaigns. Like you just
Right,
play.
yeah.
You just get to play the
Yeah,
game.
that's what we did with me when we boosted me.
but
Oh, okay,
that
yeah.
Yeah.
boils down to, because there's not a clear advantage there. Anyone can get that. The thing is, it's how much you value your time. If you just want to get to the point where everyone else is at this point, here's $15. Which is spending like 10 hours of your life getting to that same point.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
Yeah.
in my this also might be a controversial opinion. On the surface, that is not that big of a deal. It's whatever. Like you said, there's no clear cut like advantage over anybody else because everybody has access to it. The problem with that thought process comes with after X amount of marketing time, because that's what it is. A lot of times with the boost comes advertising all over the fucking place. After that marketing revenue and window has closed, what typically happens? Those boosts disappear until the next X event happens. And now the people that are just now getting into it 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years after that boost was available are stuck slogging their way through, or in worst case scenarios going up against the massive amount of, especially right after a boost closes. Like World of Warcraft's big, not necessarily World of Warcraft. It used to be big with this, but competitive MMO, or not competitive MMO, competitive FPS games, when they do this, are real bad about it, because right after a boost expires, if you get into the game, literally everybody except the people that just started playing that week with you are max level, which means you and the 10 people that started playing that day are going against the 100,000 max level people, or the 100,000 people that now have access to top tier equipment. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a non-issue as long as that boost is available consecutively throughout the game's lifespan.
But back to Zenless. You're basically spending money to get characters for yourself. It is a single player game, so
Right.
like
Right.
there's no
multiplayer aspect to it whatsoever.
no. Well, okay, there's like a leaderboard for like arcade games, but like that the characters don't affect that at all.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Oh.
So yeah,
Wait, so there's not even like multiplayer?
no, it is a strictly single player game.
We should play Genshin.
Then
It's not
why
multiplayer.
then why the fuck would people spend money?
DLC for regular games. That's essentially what it is.
hold on. Dalton, I don't know how familiar you are with anime fans. Waifus. Literally
Waifus.
all it is. You're paying for characters that are scantily clad and
Big
attractive.
titty made. Yeah.
You know, enough said.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like-
respectable.
yeah. Wow, this character's kind of hot. Here, take $15. I want to play as that character.
How can we make money with an anime game? Target the neckbeards.
Pretty
much. Shit.
Okay, the neck
Oh.
says.
There goes our
I'm gonna
whole
be
audience.
outed
Anyway,
for that. This is where the hate mail comes in. This is what's gonna be pulling all the emails.
Hate mail is still email. Send it in. Anyway,
Oh.
for my game, I played Nikkei. No, I'm just messing with you. Do you not know what Nikkei is? I refuse to put that on
I
any screens for this fucking podcast.
hold on.
You can Google it if you want.
I recognize the name, but it might be for the wrong reason. How's it spelled?
We're gonna get hate mail for this. It absolutely is a game that I play on a regular. It is my gacha game. Like it is my gacha game that we haven't talked about. Nikke.
Never heard of it.
Goddess of War, I think, is the subtitle.
Oh. Oh, yeah, okay.
It's way worse than anything you've talked to us about so far in chats. It's by far the worst. Dalton, look up. It is by far the worst.
Oh, wow.
Game.
Wow. Not what I was prepared for.
Goddess of Victory, I think, is actually what it is.
Yeah, yep.
Not today, Postal Inspector. Jesus.
Play the game, Sarah just rolls her eyes. I'm like, look at the gun. Look at the gun she has. We're like, the gun. I'm like,
Okay, not to completely derail us here. Stellar Blade had so the game company said that they goofed up on the cosmetics in the game, and there was an update to make them more family friendly. I refuse to update that game because yes. So if that says anything,
That's so funny.
And that's the. Why did you fall behind? Why aren't you competitive anymore?
the cosmetics just yeah.
You start pulling like bullshit patch notes that you don't like out of your ass. 21.6 did this. They nerfed the stats for the machine gun. It's just Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm sure. Right below that, it also said like extended the length of the skirt. So whatever. Take your pick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially what they did.
All right,
Anyway,
gotcha games.
your game,
Zenless
sorry.
Zone Zero. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we will talk about Nikkei at some point. Imagine this playing Nikkei in the background for fucking an hour and a half. And that's how we got Red Struck from YouTube. All right. Oh, shit. You done? Is that it?
Wait,
yeah,
so
you
that
guys
wasn't actually your game? Did I totally miss the bit?
No, it's not. It's not. It's
Oh,
not.
damn.
Not this time. Okay.
I played Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So, what did you want to talk about?
When spring comes, I'm leaving town. I'm going to Midgar.
So, have either of you played the original Final Fantasy VII?
No.
Perfect.
I've actually never played the entirety of the franchise.
Oh, fun fact. None of them are connected unless they have a dash at the end of the title, like 7-2, which doesn't exist. But Cameron, have you played the original Final Fantasy VII?
No, so Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy are games that I am told repeatedly that I need to play, and I just haven't ever touched them.
Right. This is perfect because I am going to talk about the game up and as we've played it, but no further. I did play Final Fantasy VII when I was younger. Never beat it, but I know how it ends. And the wonderful woman in the room next to me, it is her first experience with it. So I don't want anything spoiled for her at all. Cameron, do you know how the game ends, at least? It's one of those things that like most gamers do. Like, do you know the big point that happens without spoilers at all? Like, do you know the big contentious thing that shocked the gaming world when it happened? That's pretty much it. And we are at 2 hours and 9 minutes, and I'm bleeping everything you just said out. But yeah, so so I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. which is a remake of Final Fantasy VII. Shocker. It was released on the PlayStation 4 in 2020, the PlayStation 5 of 2021, and also Windows of 2021, roughly 5 months after it was released on the PlayStation 5. The original Final Fantasy VII was released in the late 90s, very early 2000s on the PlayStation 1, and it has graphics. I've never beat the game. I only ever put like, I've played it many times, but I've never put more than like 10 or 15 hours into it, which is perfect because the remake that's playing behind me, they actually chopped it up into 3 different games. The first one, which is Remake, covers the first 5 or so hours of the original Final Fantasy VII and extends the story out to roughly 60 to 80 hours. What you're watching behind me is just shy of halfway through the game, and we've put like 30 hours into it. The second, Rebirth, which came out February of this year, tacks another 100 to 120 hours onto it and covers a huge chunk of the Final Fantasy VII story. And the third part, which is Final Fantasy VII they haven't titled it yet, comes out in an estimated 2028. That being said, Final Fantasy VII is one of the most beloved games ever made. Final Fantasy in general has one of the largest followings in gaming culture, and Final Fantasy VII is by far the most beloved game out of the bunch. It has one of the most profound and endearing stories to ever grace the gaming world, as well as one of the most heartbreaking moments in gaming culture, period. Even if you don't know that you've seen it, if I sent you a clip of the moment that I'm talking about, you'll be like, oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I've seen that. Final Fantasy VII. So, essentially what it was is all the reasons that I just said is what caused Square Enix to do a remake of it. So, the story pretty much opens with Cloud Strife, who's currently slashing a sword around behind me, getting off of a train at a what looks like a nuclear reactor, but go ahead. Cameron,
I
go.
didn't want to cut you off. So I do know this for a game fact, a small game fact.
Okay.
Square Enix was actually not filing for bankruptcy, but they were very on the cusp of it.
Yep.
And their game, the title for the game, Final Fantasy, that was the final game they were supposed to make to save the studio, and it
Yep.
succeeded.
Yep. The original one was 2D top down. If anybody knows what RPG Maker is, it was essentially an RPG Maker game from the early 90s, late 80s, one of the two. It was originally on I think it was on the NES. I can't remember. So the Final Fantasy naming convention is very weird. In Japan, they had Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, 4. In America, we got Final Fantasy 2, which was actually Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 4, which was actually Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, a renamed Final Fantasy 2 that was actually Final Fantasy 2 in Japan. The naming convention's all fucked up. Like, it's super weird. It's a godsend that none of the games are related to each other at all. Fun fact, if anybody's played the Mother series, yes. So Mother 1 in Japan is actually, why can't I remember? Earthbound in America. Mother 2 and Mother 3, we never got. They're, to this day, they're SNES games. They're like 30 years old. To this day, we still don't have an actual official copy of Mother 2 or Mother 3, or Earthbound 2 and Earthbound 3. The best we have is fan-translated copies. And, yeah, fun fact. Anyway, so it opens with Cloud. This is halfway through the game. This isn't the start. It opens with Cloud jumping off of a train with a gamer tag, with a ragtag group of people, Jesse, Wedge, and Barrett, attacking what you would think is like a nuclear reactor. Turns out it's what's called a Mako reactor. Mako is the lifeblood of the planet that they live on in Final Fantasy VII. So essentially, you are a mercenary for hire helping an eco-terrorist organization by the name of Avalanche. You go in here, or in here. This is the second Mako reactor that you attack, so I'm just referring to it as here. But you go in here and you plant a bomb, and then a boss fight ensues, obviously, and then you escape, and the bomb goes off. But the bomb is like way, 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 way bigger than it was supposed to be, or the explosion was way bigger than it was supposed to be. And you, as the player, see Shinra, which owns the city of Midgar that the game takes place in, fiddles with the bomb at the last minute, makes the explosion like essentially turn the reactor into a bomb itself, and it blows up like a chunk of the city. And you don't know why. Obviously, you as the player know this, but the characters are led to believe that they messed up the bomb, they messed up something was wrong. You go back to the hideout in the slums. So the way the city is kind of formed is that you have the slums, literally on the ground, built on the soil of the planet, and then above, everybody, if you know what Final Fantasy VII is, you've seen Midgar before. Let me send a picture to you guys. But Midgar is essentially like an elevated platform that a city for richer people is built on top of, and the whole thing is ran by the electric company called Shinra. Think of AES. Think if AES in our state was fucking mega maniacal and just owned the state and did whatever the fuck they want. They own the fucking military. They own the police. They own everything. They run everything. And Midgar is by far the largest city on the planet. So Midgar is up here and the slums are down here. You go to your base in the slums underneath Midgar. And essentially what you do is you spend some time doing some side quests and getting to learn or getting to know and meet all of the major characters in the game. After which a couple of you go off on a couple of like gotcha quests, I guess. Only to find out that so the game has like it's not a lifestyle like you were talking about earlier, Cameron. It's not like a lifestyle mechanic, but in between the major events of the game, you're let loose in a semi-open world, of which there's a small select number of quests for you to do where you go around and help random citizens and like just do nice things. Literally, one of them is like you help a little girl find her 6 missing cats, for example. Another one is you go into like the scrapyard and you fight a fucking boss and everything in between. And once you complete those, you move on to the next like main segment of the game, which in this case is where the footage behind me takes place. You are sent by Avalanche to help blow up a second reactor. In this one, it is in this section, in this reactor, it is actually revealed that to the characters that Shinra is sabotaging the bombs in order to sell war to the people. They're trying to essentially start a war with the Wutai, which are their like sworn enemies in another part of the planet. And by saying Avalanche is helping Wutai, it's easier to do that. Another large battle takes place. I mean, the story's there. You got to remember this game. Pretty much what I explained is how far we've gotten. They took the first 5 hours of the original game and expanded it out for like 70 or 80. So all the story details are still there. I pretty much just explained 5 hours of an old game to you, but where all the stretch comes in is like all of the little moments of getting to know a character, learning about, this character, learning about that character, more backstories and stuff like that. There's a nightlife place in the slums where this guy by the name of Don Caliente, is that his name? Why do I think that's his name? Kidnaps one of the main characters to be his wife. essentially. You got to go save him. And to go save him, you have to get the approval of one of like the trifecta or whatever. And one or the trio. One side of the trio has you do like a Colosseum battle where you have to like fight your way through multiple enemies to get top tier. Another one has like a fucking gathering quest. But the third one is very interesting. Cloud ends up cross-dressing, dancing, getting hit on by a dude. Like it's a whole thing. It's really, really fun. It's a really fun game though. It's been a while since I played a game where I feel compelled to like actually stop and look around and check and see what every corner holds. Because like I said, the original Final Fantasy VII is all turn-based. That's the big difference with what's going on behind me. It's Pokemon style or old Final Fantasy style. You're faced with a screen, and here are the 3 enemies, and here are your 3 people. And they go, and then you go, and then they go, and then you go. And as you're waiting your turn, you select what abilities you're going to attack and stuff like that. But in this, it's all live combat. Now, you can't really see it. We just left combat, and it's hard to see. But down here in the corner, there are like stat bars, and all the characters only have 2 of them at the moment at the level that they're at. But as you perform damage, these bars start to fill up. And when they fill up, you can hit the X button on the PlayStation controller, and it slows time down to an almost standstill. And that's where you select your abilities like you would normally do in a attack, defend, use an item, stuff like that. As opposed to the old style where it's, for the most part, static. Yeah, like there's not really a whole lot to talk about. I mean, I could go in depth about all the different characters and stuff like that. The voice acting is the biggest change. I mean, you would think the graphics and everything would be the biggest change, but the voice acting is, if you've played the old games, the voice acting, because there was no voice acting at all in the original game. So I think they did an awesome job. All the characters in this sound like I imagined they did when I was younger. So they did an awesome job on that. The cinematics are beautiful. All the enemy types are awesome. The mini bosses, regardless of what difficulty you're playing on, if you're playing on classic or easy, the combat feels easy, but whenever you're faced with like a larger enemy, it's still very much a challenge. Cannon fodder you can swipe through, whatever, but like the big thing that's going on behind me, whenever you're faced with one of those, for example, you start puckering up and you start actually watching your health bars and stuff like that. So no, it's a really fun game. I'm very happy with what they've done and all that fun stuff. I cannot wait to start the second one when we finish this, and I will absolutely hate the 4-year wait for the next one. So that is
Damn.
I just talked, I think, for 15 fucking minutes without stopping. So somebody ask me a question so I can breathe.
So, not that I've never been interested in Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
It's just the game series has been around for so long, and I haven't played any of them. And at this point, it would be an entire adventure just to start them.
Okay, play this.
I was getting ready to ask because I'm literally looking at the PlayStation Store now.
You have premium. You have premium, right?
Yes.
This is free. This is part of the catalog. This is why that's how we're playing it.
But I was going to ask because they have Final Fantasy VII Remake. They have Final Fantasy Type 0. They have
I don't know what that is.
They have Crisis Core Final Fantasy.
So the naming
7
convention
Reunion.
with Final Fantasy is fucking stupid. So
I just don't know where to start.
Here is my understanding from when I was 10, and I do not think it's changed, but I have done zero research on it. The main games are Final Fantasy 1, 2, just take what you can from what I'm about to explain. The main games are Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 10. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, and 16. Okay? If they have a sequel, they will be denoted by Final Fantasy 10-2, 10-3, 13-2, 13-3. Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14 are MMOs. Anything that has words after a number is a spinoff, including words that don't have numbers. So like Final Fantasy Type 0, Final Fantasy Tactics are spinoffs. Final Fantasy Crisis Core is a spinoff. Take what you want from that naming convention. It's super fucking wild and stupid and weird, but the general consensus for Final Fantasy, if I don't know how to get into them, I've always wanted to play them, but I don't know where to start. 7 and 10. That's it.
They have access to 7. So
play this. Play this. Not only that, this is a very, I found, because I've played 10. I've played 2. One is just don't touch 1. Holy shit.
I was literally just looking at that. Okay.
I've played 2, which is fun in a very old school way, but I've played through 2. I've played half-ish of the original 7. I've played all the way through 9 or 10, 10-2, and 13. I've played I've started 16.
So
Go ahead.
I didn't totally lie to you because I think I've only played it for like 2 hours. I'm terrible with Roman numerals. Final Fantasy XV.
XV 15. Yeah, 15. That's the one with the car and the prince.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I started that one.
I have played that for like 2 hours only because my my ex at the time was like, "You need to play this because that was her husbando."
Right.
Was
okay. Oh, God. All right. Yeah. So if I remember correctly, so all Final Fantasies have some form of turn-based combat. I mentioned 1 through 6 specifically. Definitely 1 through 6. I think 7, 8, 9, and 10 in varying forms are all just turn-based. Like, think Pokemon. They're just turn-based, right? You go and then they go, and then you go and then they go. Most of the Final Fantasies after 10 use some form of like what I explained what's going on behind me. Live action combat, but you have a gauge, and that gauge allows you to do a thing. And then when you choose the thing you want to do, time slows and you can get more tactical, right? So like when I'm playing this in like a boss fight, for example, there's 3 characters in my party. Those gauges are going up so much that I go from doing more live action combat, or I go from doing a lot of live action combat to mostly dealing with pause menus and selecting abilities that I want people to use. This is a very user friendly and like easy way to get into Final Fantasy's style of combat, because every game is a bit different, but this game specifically is the funnest combat that I've had in a game, I think, ever. You could just brute force your way through this game and just do live action combat and say fuck all of the special abilities and just do your best. You could use the special abilities without pausing the game or slowing down time, because the L1 and R1 buttons open up a circle pad type thing, and all of the abilities you can hotkey. So you can just like, oh, I want to use triple slash, L1 triangle, boom, he uses triple slash and that bar depletes a little bit. So you don't have to slow things down. You could also set it to classic difficulty, where the game fights for you and all you have to do is manage what abilities are being used by who. Like in the settings for this game, there is a whole battle settings section that you can modify to your heart's content, and it doesn't shut off trophies or anything. And on top of that, it's like fucking 80 hours of gameplay, and you already have access to. If you wanna get into a Final Fantasy game, this is by far play this one for sure.
I will install that Sunday. I don't work. I shouldn't work Sunday, so.
And I don't know when the last time. Well, I was gonna say I don't know when the last time you played Japanese games was, but this is Sarah's first Japanese game. But we literally just talked about Nikkei and Zenless Zone Zero, so you're fine. But like the overly eccentric characters, like the Don Caliente in this game is a really fat fucking guy, dressed up all eccentrically, and he's like, "Oh, pretty lady." You know how Japanese games, like game characters, they're like that. They emote like she's never experienced this before. So every time somebody comes on the screen that's like just like what Japanese think Americans are like, she's like, "What the fuck is happening?" I was like, "It's Japan. It's fine. Just don't think about it." Every third person in this game wears a cowboy hat, you know, because Japan.
Not to like derail you, but this is still kind of the same idea. There was a character, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There was a character in Yu-Gi-Oh who was supposed to be an American, like participating in the duels, and like cowboy boots, jeans, American flag bandana, chained wallet, biker vest. It was like, yeah, he's an American.
Yeah. They definitely have a overly eccentric idea of what Americans are. Side note, I saw an Asmongold clip yesterday with Sarah about how all anime is not Westerners, they're cats. Have you seen this?
Yes, yeah. The way anime faces are set up, like with the small nose and the big eyes,
The
they took
proportions are there
inspiration
too.
from they took inspiration from the way a cat's face is proportioned. So yeah,
It's the
do
idea
with that
that the
information as
like
you will.
cats are like anime is supposed to be the anime style. When you look at an anime, it's supposed to give you emotions of cute or adorable. Just the art style by itself. So the Japanese idea that cats are the ultimate cuteness is one of the things that they took inspiration from. Go for it.
Does that mean weebs are furries?
All of us. Every single one of us.
Fair enough. I appreciate the clarity.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
Yes,
inclined
you
to
are a
answer that
furry.
one.
You didn't when we were at the restaurant. You didn't go very deep down my Instagram.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Sorry, I just outed
Yeah.
myself. That's yeah.
I'm not gonna side to one side of that. I'll just leave it at that.
Got any other questions
Anyway.
for it?
So okay, I know you said you like the combat quite a lot, but like
Mhm.
what about this game makes it so endearing to you? Because you obviously care a lot about this game, and I've never played any of them. Well,
Okay.
like I said, I played like 2 hours of one of them, and it was an
So
experience. Say that much.
so Final Fantasy is kind of a weird subject for me. I played more of it during my middle years. I mean, Final Fantasy was big during Final Fantasy VII shot Final Fantasy popularity in the gaming world like through the fucking roof. And then they followed it up a couple years later with Final Fantasy X, both of which are very endearing games, and both of which came out when I was like 10, 9, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I didn't start really playing the Final Fantasy games until like my late teens. But I got into it because there was a movie that came out in insert year here. Oh my god.
A Final Fantasy movie? Question mark.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. 2001, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. It flopped. It was horrible. It was a horrible movie. Like box office wise, it was shit. They fucking they spent like 130 million dollars on the movie and it made like 50. Like it was bad. But I liked it. I don't know why I liked it. Like the story was shit, the characters were shit, nothing was really like fleshed out in it. I think it was more for the time it was the first 3D film that you could look at from a distance and mistake for live action. But it tied in, or it didn't tie in with any of the games either. Whereas there's a couple other Final Fantasy films like Advent Children, which actually tied directly into Final Fantasy VII, but it was also a flop. So I knew Final Fantasy was a thing before I played it. I'd seen the movies before I played it, but the first game I ever played was Final Fantasy X, which, I mean, it was on the PlayStation 2 and it was still like a 150-hour game. And I put every bit of 200 hours into it. So it was more about just the time that I spent with Square Enix's style of characters. Square Enix specifically has a very like look at life from the other side type of perspective on their characters, which makes them very endearing and easy to like get attached to. Because everything is like I'm going through hardships, but that person may be going through worse hardships than I am, so it's my job to help them in any way that I can. And I was bullied in school a lot, so I kind of latched onto that like pretty fucking big when I played Final Fantasy X. And I'm getting there. You're asking about this game specifically. I heard about this game the entire time that it came out, the entire time that it was being played. But the wild thing about being a kid is that you're not in charge of shit. You can ask all you want, you can mow all the yards you want, but like if your parents say you're not getting it, you're not getting it. And this was one of the ones that I was never able to get when I was younger, and I kind of skipped over it and skipped over it and skipped over it, and finally, this is the first time I've ever actually had unbridled access to the story of Final Fantasy VII without like going through and like, ooh, plot synopsis on Wikipedia or watching a Let's Play on YouTube, which I never did, thank God. I know the big spoiler plots, like you mentioned earlier, because everybody knows them. Whether or not you know it's from Final Fantasy VII, you've probably seen footage or heard about what it is. So like the only I mentioned I only ever put like 10 or 15 hours into the game on repeated sessions. It was because it was at friends' houses and stuff like that. So all of the heartfelt things that I've heard over the past like 20 years about this game, this is the first time I'm genuinely experiencing it in its entirety. And on top of that, it's fleshed out more than it was back then. This whole 80-hour game is the first 5 hours of story from Final Fantasy VII. So I'm just really, really fucking deep into it at this point for more of a, I guess I'm filling a hole that I've had for a long time with this, if that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't really know how else to explain that. It's rather deep.
I mean,
guess.
I'll play it, and I actually mean it. I'll play it at some point because
Well, we have like 30 hours in, and we've been playing for well over a month at this point. Like we're taking our time. We're gonna spend a couple hours on it tonight before we go to bed, or an hour on it tonight before we go to bed. So, yeah. Daulton, you got anything? You got questions? Okay. Does that answer your question, Cameron?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
more or less.
Okay.
I'll kind of I'll probably realize what you're talking about a little better once I actually start playing it.
Oh, there's a boss fight coming up in this scene that I'm prepping for, which reminds me one of the coolest things about Final Fantasy is you get to collect. So the magic in Final Fantasy is called materia, and one of the coolest materias that you can collect. So you collect materias and you equip it. You equip your magic. So you would, in this case, in Cloud's sword, there's 3 slots or 4 slots, maybe in this one, and in each slot you equip a materia orb. one is fucking blizzard. So now you have access to a frost spell. That's how that works. One of the coolest things about materia is you can unlock, find, or create summoning materia, which during large boss battles you get to summon a creature. The one you get right off the back is called Ifrit, and if anybody knows their Buddhist or Indian fucking demology, or religious stuff, an Ifrit is a giant fire demon.
Is that the lion looking character that I usually see tied to this game?
Yes, yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's fucking huge. So
Yeah.
when these little slots right here that I said you can use for abilities as they go up, that one that just popped up. When your summon is in, you can use that for their summon ability. It's like a big, huge attack. But also, summons, they deplete as the battle goes down. And when they go all the way down, they leave the battle. But when they leave the battle, they kind of destroy everything through one means or another. So, yeah. Hold on. See if I can fucking get to the boss fight where our summon is in play. Yeah. So here, wow, I'm summoning a giant chocobo.
That's another creature that I'm at least familiar with. They had a
Dude.
tie over with Assassin's Creed. You could get a chocobo in Assassin's Creed.
Chocobos are fucking sick. I fucking love chocobos. I know in most Final Fantasy games, there's a place called the Gold Saucer, which is like a giant casino. And outside the casino, there's typically like you can bet on. We're going back to Scioto Downs and City 7, but or City 6, but you can bet on chocobo racing, which in Final Fantasy X I was really bad at. So
Oh my
but
God.
you have to do it during the time that you are in. So that's something I should preface for you, since you do plan on playing it. When you go to the Gold Saucer, when you leave the Gold Saucer, you're not coming back. When you enter this semi-open world area where these 6 quests are that you can complete, and this store is, and that cool little side activity, once you leave that part of the story is done, and you're not coming back here.
So do everything
it is
available at any given point.
Yes, it is a linear semi-open world, if that makes sense. Like they will flat out have tooltips that tell you, be like, oh, you can come back to this gate is clearly locked. No clear way to open it, but you can come back to it later and try and open it later. What they mean is, before you finish that chapter, you better figure it the fuck out. Because once you finish the chapter,
Okay.
you're moving the fuck on. So, yeah, that's Final Fantasy VII.
Nice. I will say it's definitely it's probably not my style of game, but the one
That's fair.
thing that I appreciate about this whole podcast is that I get to hear about games that I wouldn't necessarily play.
It's almost like watching a very short let's play of a game that you will never touch. You get to live kind
Right,
of
yeah.
vicariously through somebody else for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Opens
I just
up.
need someone to. Apparently, I just need someone to sell me on Kingdom Hearts now, so I'll sit down and play
Mhm.
that.
Kingdom Hearts is a fucking mess, dude. Oh my god. The first game, don't play it. You won't like it. The first game is a soul. I'll
I
send
know
you a podcast.
their naming convention for Kingdom Hearts is even worse than Final Fantasy. That I know for a fact.
Do you mean to tell me you don't know what order to play Kingdom Hearts in? It's easy. You play 1, 2, Kingdom Hearts 2.13 days/3. Then you play. That's what is the wildest Kingdom Hearts name? Hold on. I'm not far off
I was
with
gonna
that.
say, no, you're not, John. I honestly thought you were like super offended there for a second. I was about to
No,
be
no,
like, I
no,
don't
you're fine,
know,
you're fine, you're
man.
Hold on. I have to find this because Daulton looks shook. No, yeah, that's okay. So the games in order is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. This is in in lore order. Like, to get the story, like you play Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. Right? Yeah. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts Coded, Kingdom Hearts 358/2 days. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. Yes, a 3DS title is a canonically. Yes, canonically required to continue the story. Kingdom Hearts X, then Kingdom Hearts 3, which just came out a couple years ago, then Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. And then others, you have a Kingdom Hearts or Kingdom Hearts Mobile and the Kingdom Hearts VR experience. Or to tie it all together, you can play the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 remix, followed by the 2.5 remix, followed by 2.8 final chapter prologue. We're done.
God,
The
that's
Kingdom Hearts is
awful.
fucky, dude.
Who was in charge of that? It's like you would, dude. If you
you could get the Kingdom Hearts starter pack, which has the HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix. You can get these are all different packages. You can get the collector's pack HD 1.5.25 remix. You can get Kingdom Hearts the story so far, Kingdom Hearts the all-in-one package, or Kingdom Hearts the Integram Masterpiece for Cloud, which contains cloud versions of everything in the all-in-one package, which replaces the main guy with it's Kingdom Hearts. I always have the theme song stuck in my head, but Kingdom Hearts is a fucking disaster.
Dude, you could sit me down with a piece of paper with all of those titles written down and be like, "Hey, circle
It
the
would
one
be
you think."
easier to explain the entirety of 40K to you.
Oh, shit.
Dude. God damn. All right. Oh, look, Clouds die. Oh, hold on, Cameron. If you watch,
Well,
you mentioned
spoilers,
somebody.
Jesus.
You mentioned somebody earlier. Hold on. Can I just get the loading bar thing? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And whoa, where's it at? Oh, there's Sephiroth. And then I cut it like right after this. Hole in the roof. Anyway, yeah, that's Final Fantasy VII. Does anybody have anything else before we move on to housekeeping? Here you go.
Yes. Yep.
Yep, there you go. My favorite person in all of video games. So anybody got anything else before we move on to housekeeping?
Nope.
Housekeeping.
Cool, housekeeping. You guys are gonna fucking shit yourselves when I tell you how long we've been doing this.
4 hours.
2 hours and 47 minutes.
Holy shit.
Okay.
By far the longest one. All right, housekeeping. I have to pick a host. I'm gonna pick Cameron. I want to pick Daulton, but I have to pick Cameron. And there's a very simple, very stupid reason for why I have to pick Cameron. I really respected, Daulton, that you reached out. That's literally the whole point of the podcast, all right?
Mhm.
And I am reinforcing bad behavior by picking Cameron because Cameron kind of stuck to what he knows. He still explored something new, but it's still kind of anime waifu shit. So
Hey, but it wasn't
that's
a
all-
100. It wasn't 100%ing a platformer. So we broke out a little bit.
No. I'm gonna do something. I'm the fucking host of this show. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You awarded me 25 minutes for Warhammer. I'm gonna do something unprecedented. Cameron, I really liked that you got me to talk about Nikkei.
I don't know if I should be flattered or not.
Daulton, I really respect that you talked about how you went out of your comfort zone and ended up really enjoying something, and it took me back, the whole you said the whole relaxing way that it played, and it really took me back to it actually made me think about the first time I played Farm Sim, about how I was like, whatever, I'll play it. Everybody's fucking talking about it, whatever. And then 6 hours later, I'm like on my 4th field of fucking corn, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to the wheat before it fucking wilts. What the fuck am I gonna do? You're both hosting next episode.
Oh God.
Honestly, this is gonna be a mess. Okay.
Oh boy.
You are both hosting next episode.
Oh, he finally did it. I knew someone was gonna do it.
Now,
And how I kind of knew it was
I-
going to be
I
you because it
don't know
wasn't going to
how-
be me.
I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm laying the ground rules now. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to win the next episode.
Okay.
But you're both hosting the next episode.
You're fucking going down, Cameron. I'm going to be the
All right,
better
well,
host.
hey, I've got a lineup of like 6 games that I have yet to talk about that I've been playing off
now,
and on.
now I haven't finished yet.
Oh,
You're
God.
both hosting the next episode, but I'm judging you. It has no merit as to who wins, but I'm giving judgment at the end of the episode.
I'll accept that.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
You're fucking going down. You hear that, you slimy little shit?
Oh my god. All right. Rest of housekeeping. All right. That being said, we have no emails. Please send us emails. And I have to pick from a list of topics to open the next episode so that our gracious hosts can open the next episode. So that being said, I have a D20. I'm gonna roll it, and we're gonna select off of this list. Here we go. I got a 14, which is your first gaming memory.
Oh,
That's a good one.
I like that a lot.
I'm gonna have to fucking go.
I
way
immediately
back
had-
into the bowels of my brain.
I had 2 vivid memories immediately pop into my head. I am very excited to talk about this next episode.
Okay, all right. That being said, I think that's everything. It's been 2 hours and 51 minutes, and I genuinely can't think about whether there's something that we're missing from housekeeping. I don't think there is. Picked a host, rolled a dice, talked about emails. Go to our website, doortodoorgaming.com. There's a master list of all the games that we talked about, including the ones in this episode. Check the show notes for links that I talked about that I promised that I would put in the show notes. That the last time I did that, I don't think I did. So, I'm gonna give the shout out
what?
there.
What and when is the next bonus?
The next bonus is I do believe comes out the Friday after the next episode releases. That being said, it is the Fallout franchise. We have very large plans for that, and we have taken 0 steps towards it, except figuring out who's playing what. I don't know who has played what, who hasn't played what yet.
I've been playing
know-
mine. I've
Have
played
you?
both.
Okay.
Both of mine, yeah.
I do not know if we are gonna record it the original hope was that we were gonna record it in segments starting 2 months ago. We haven't done that. My worry is that we're just gonna break down, have an intervention, and then sit down and have a 6-hour recording session one day. Who knows? But we have a month to figure it out.
Please. Dear God. Are we so are we
Don't make us do it.
we're breaking down each segment. Are we doing it in release order? Is that what it was? What we
Yes.
decided on?
We are going to
Oh,
do it really.
and we still have to play 76. Oh no.
I have enough game time with 76 to know what the fuck.
I know, but I
Let's do
thought
it.
we were gonna play it together. Wasn't that part of the plan?
It was.
We can do
I'm
that.
glad we're figuring this out with our
Right now.
wonderful audience.
Hey, send us emails what you think about what we should do for Fallout 76.
All right, that's a wrap, everybody. Good night.
Yeah.